things that we do as teachers, and I don't know what you guys are here, but we assess phonological awareness skills first. So we have an actual assessment that we do, and we test the PA skills, right? The phonological awareness skills. And if I see a student is struggling with just remove the word was cat, just like in the video, that's one of the tests that we do. And I remove the C. What's the word you're left with? And it's at. If a student is struggling with that, then we may have an issue, right? Phonological awareness is our main issue that we look at first to see if it's dyslexic or not. Okay. Any other academic signs are not here that you probably see in your classrooms right now, other than the spelling, the fluency, comprehension? No, it's very much what you guys see in the classrooms currently. Yeah, I see the heads nodding. Okay. Now, before I start, anyone familiar with this? Yes. Them not being able to take the notes down. That is a good one because they can't. I'm sorry. I heard somebody say something. Okay, so when they have a hard time copying from the board and then they put on paper and it's completely different with what's on the board, that's actually a sign of dyslexia. Okay, and if you see that constantly, like every day and every time they're writing something and it's a consistent thing, then definitely that is one red flag. Okay, that is actually a really common one, by the way. Yeah. They struggle. They can't cross that midline. Their brain and their hands, right? Right. Anyone has heard about structured literacy? What do you know about structured literacy?
It's an approach to reading instruction in contrast to balanced literacy that says that reading instruction should be like explicit, there should be a scope and sequence, systematic approach to teaching reading instruction.
Correct. So that's essentially what it is. We're going to talk about that today. Okay. Now, there is a really great article in the Harvard Gazette that I found, and it says reading ability is difference between much earlier than kids who are around 18 months of age, 5 to 6. That to me is a big aha moment. Why? When our students go to preschool, right? What is that daycare or that teacher doing in the classroom constantly, or should be doing constantly? Talking, describing. They're describing when they're taking off the pamper, and then I'm taking off your pamper, I'm changing your clothes, I'm putting your shoes. They're constantly describing what's happening in the classroom, right? So this idea that it begins way before 5 to 6, it is true. I also used to be a preschool director, okay, for about three years, and our curriculum did require for us to constantly talk. But at the end of the day, that's what you should be doing as teachers, talking to your child every day about everything and anything, even if it's changing the diaper. Right? When you're changing the diaper, we're not just changing the diaper quietly, we're changing your diaper, putting the left one, putting the right one. Why? We're developing language. Right? That is our basics of oral language and reading, right? We need to develop that before. And that also starts when they're in utero, which is another thing that the article highlighted. Okay? So that just means that we're going to continue talking until tongues fall off. Okay? So we don't stop talking. It's what I tell my son, and my son doesn't have life. If you ever meet my son. Now, the foundation of early literacy, again, it goes back to oral language. Okay? Oral language has different forms: anthropology, homology, semantics. We're going to get into a little bit all of that in the future. Okay? When I'm going to keep moving. Now, reading, when we do read, to get reading comprehension, you need linguistic comprehension. That essentially means what we read, okay? And it has to be skill. When we're decoding, it essentially means word recognition, okay? To support both, right? It is essential that we understand as teachers which area needs more support to get reading comprehension. Okay, so it leads me to our wonderful reading rope, right? This reading rope is called the Scarborough rope. Has anyone seen this rope before? Okay. So essentially, reading is made out of threads, right? The top part, it's all the language comprehension, okay? Then you look at the bottom, it's all areas related to word recognition, right? So the strands are strong. If they're strong, then what happens with reading? Strong, right? It's fluent. It's easy. It's automatic. When the strands are loose, what happens? It's hard. It takes such a long time to process that information, and the student struggles, right? But for us as educators, it lets us know that we can't just focus on one particular strand. We have to focus on all the strands to put it together so our brain can develop better. Does that make sense? Now, structured literacy. So the science of reading is the evidence, right? It's evidence-based research. Now, the structured literacy is how we apply it. So essentially, for example, in structured literacy, science of reading, we say that, and I say also, that phonological awareness skills is reading for success. Right? If they don't have phonological awareness skills, their reading is going to be really hard for them in the future. So how do we, with structured literacy, change that? We do that with step-by-step instruction. Okay. Now, again, it's explicit. What does it mean by when it's explicit? We have clear lessons. We have a clear curriculum that we follow. Okay. It's systematic. It builds on each skill. Okay. And we use we call it diagnostic. Essentially means that we assess our kids and we monitor their progress. Okay. But it's also multimodal. That means that we connect all of our five senses. We hear it, we touch it, we see it, we feel it. Right, we use all of our five senses when we're learning here. Okay. Now, what is phonological awareness? Without looking at it, as educators, what is phonological awareness? You guys know this? Any teacher? Anyways, what is phonological awareness? Sounds, right? It is the ability to hear, identify, and play with sounds. That's essentially what phonological awareness is. It's manipulating sounds so they can see them eventually integrate. Okay? So it is a strong predictor for reading success. Okay? And spoken language skills means that we have to start here. Okay, so we can better make it integrate. So now we're going to practice. Before I practice with you guys, some sounds. I'm the teacher and you're my students. Okay? So when we see the video, I want to hear you actually say the sounds as she's saying them. Okay? All right. Oh, here we go. But you know what? Let's do something. As this might. I'm gonna repeat what she does, and you're gonna say the sound. Okay, this is just so we can practice and make sure we get the correct sounds. So we're going to our teaching that we're teaching the correct sound. Okay, so give me 1 second. So. We have 44 phonemes. That's all we need in the English. 44. This all compromises to make it readable. We're not going to hear it. I'm going to repeat it. Yes. Because I'm going to back there again. So while he's doing that, the sound, the letter is R. What sound? How are your mouths? Right. So when we teach our students how to say that sound, we also teach them how to the placement of their mouth. Inside our Lucy Project folders, there's a mirror. We want to incorporate mirrors in this book when we're teaching a new concept, right? So we can teach the placement of the tongue, the mouth, right? The letter is the letter is Y. The sound Y or Y. Y or Y. Y is a Y and a Y. We don't want to try to get away with the schwa sound, right? I heard someone say it back there, right? Now the letter is D. What sound? D. D. Not duh. I hear the duh. Okay? It's okay.
A facilitator
We're gonna skip. I'm just gonna practice. I'll be the teacher, because this is gonna give us a hard time. All right. The letter is J. What sound? J. J. The letter is X. What sound? X. That's a hard one, right? The letter is B. What sound? Na B. Right? B. Short, sweet, snippet, right? The letter is T. The letter is I. I. What am I doing with my face? It. Or sometimes you say itch, right? Itch. We try to associate some of these letters and sounds with a gesture. Okay. Mr. Tech Guy, I need. It's repeating again. Now let's do our vowels. A. A. Yes, question.
Not only they can see your mouth, but they can also feel it.
Correct. Mm-hmm. Correct. I love that. So we're gonna practice our vowels. The letter is A. A. Some teachers do. I'm done with you. The letter is A, so the sound is A. Some teachers say apple. Now, we don't do that, right? We just do it one time. I'm glad you guys caught that. Good. The letter is I. I for itch, right? The letter is E. The letter is O. The letter is U. So I saw something. Like, oh my God. Or for right? We associate a gesture with the sound. Okay? Fun? Okay. What's R again? Question.
I have some of my students say, when I show them the you, they want to say yuck.
Yeah.
They confuse the you with the Y sound.
And that is your student, EEO student, like English language learner student?
No,
No. Okay. Are you incorporating any visuals and separating it?
I do
Okay.
so that they will know. And when I do Y, I say yuck, yuck.
So that's probably confusing because you're doing kind of the same motion of going up.
No, they get it.
They get it? Because to me, as a student, that was a little bit confusing.
No, I'm saying that they think the Y
Mhm.
is up because of the word you.
You, okay. So this, how old is your student?
No, it's yuck, yo, yo.
Oh, okay.
They get that.
So, so is it when you're breaking down the words in like when you're spelling?
Primarily, it's just to get them to hear.
Here. So I want you to practice closing, have them close their eyes. So that's something I like to do with our students is have them close their eyes. Close your eyes. All right, give me your finger. Okay, you're gonna put your finger up, point your finger. Okay, and you're gonna skywrite the letter. So you're gonna say U spells up, and as we're doing it, you are writing the U. You can also do this, right, with sand. And we say U spells and they're writing it on the sand, but obviously with your eyes open, right? But right now, sometimes skywriting is so they can visually get them out of the struggle. It's okay, let's close your eyes, and the sound or the letter is Y. So they say Y, or Y spells Y, right? So they want to close. Do you think that can help your students?
I will try.
You can try it, right? And if not, more multi-sensory. If the student is struggling to that point, that means we need to incorporate more multi-sensory. So how? Shaving cream, skywriting. Sometimes our kids need to move. So I like to do a hopscotch. So I put down some words and I say, let's imagine this is an M. So I go, ah, and they're jumping or they're skipping or they're doing some type of movement because at the end of the day, our brains need to process that information, and we've known based on research that more movement can help that. Okay? So you're gonna incorporate more movement and more multisensory. Any other questions? No? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
I have a student that said that it's hard for him to looking at words. He's trying to copy them down, but he said they kept moving.
So as he's writing, he keeps moving.
No, he says the words are becoming little and big and little.
So that might be because he has dyslexia, because your words do move in their brain. It's just like we saw in the video. As they're reading or as they're writing, the letters on the actual paper actually end up moving in the brain. So it makes it really hard. So when that happens, instead of them writing it on the paper, I just get away from the paper and go to multisensory. Even what Toby brought out, the sponge, you can have them write it with like maybe soap. Have them dip the finger with soap and write it on that sponge. Get that tactile texture on both sides. You can practice it on the rough side. You can practice it on the soft side. You can actually chalk. Chalk is a great one. But then what I do with the chalk is I melt it. I put water. I melt it. And I have them dip the finger and we go outside and we actually write the word outside. Right? It gives that other type of exposure to that. Okay? But that means that the student does have some form of dyslexia. That's just how their brain processes. So we just have to incorporate more multisensory. Okay? Yes, other question.
You mentioned earlier that if a child needs to move, they'll move, right? But how does an educator handle that in a normal classroom setting about disrupting the kids?
So we can alleviate the desk, maybe no chair, maybe more breaks in between. Some timers do help. How big is your classroom?
Well, I'm asking for a former educator, but
Mhm.
I think it's about probably 12 to 15, somewhere around.
If the student needs to move, and if there is one, safety is priority, right? We want to make sure that our classroom is laid out in a way that, and I've seen this before in a classroom, is a student will have a desk where he needs to stand, right? But he's kind of separated in a space that he can move around and come back, right? Because if you put him in a corner, separated from everybody, you're removing the inclusion part, right? We don't want to make that student feel bad. So we want to make sure that in the classroom, you at least give him some room, or she, to move. Some students maybe sometimes sit in a bouncy chair, when we're pregnant, and we use that big ball. Sometimes that works as a chair instead of an actual chair, right? So we replace something to help that child. Okay, that will actually alleviate the movement part. Okay, but just allow your child to move and have a safe space where they can come back. Maybe the child needs like a ball or a squishy ball so they can alleviate that. Maybe have that in their desk, something that they can reach. You guys like that ball idea instead of a chair? Yeah, it helps, right? Also, I like to point out, when we go work out, some of us wear these weights on our wrist or on our ankles. They also have vest weights for our students that struggle sitting. It's just a vest that has weights in it. So that's also an option. That's just a last resort type of option. For me as an educator, again, it's to your own discretion. That's why I like to involve and allow movement. So if I can bring in the ball or something that they can, wiggle, take the wiggles out and still learn, that's okay. Yes. I love these questions. How old is your child that throws tantrums and screams? How old is your child? Preschool. Oh, that's normal. To me, that can be normal, because preschool, they're just learning, how old is, like maybe 2 or 3? That's part of their learning, that's part of, it's okay. It's okay. It's part of their learning, it's part of their growing up. So what ends up happening is that we, as educators, just need to, what are other ways that we can allow that student to engage that doesn't deviate from or trigger that tantrum. So we have to look at the before, what's happening before, and what can I replace it. So can you give me a scenario? What's happening before? What's happening before his tantrum? What are you asking the child to do?
Every time the child gets a piece of paper to write, that's when the question starts.
So no writing with the pencil there. That's okay. Give him crayon. Not even crayon. Get away from the actual pencil and actual material. Use your finger. Use sand. You can, even if you have access to kinetic sand, that's another form. Shaving cream, hair gel. If we know that that's triggering it, then stop it. We avoid it, but we can still do the same idea with something else. So it's just a matter of how do we modify it to that child. Does that make sense? We can talk after. I can give you, I also have behavior background, so I can help you. Okay. All right. Is my time, what's my time looking at? We're good? Okay, just making sure. All right. My timer went off, so I was scared. Okay. 15? Okay. Okay, so we're gonna breeze through this, okay, you guys? Now we have, are we familiar with outcome boxes? Yes, how do we use them? How do we use them? Yeah, so for example, so in your bags you have tiles. Take your tiles out. Take out 3 tiles. 1. I'm gonna count to 5. 1. See how fast you get the tiles. 2. 3. 4. Uh-oh. We got some slow. Come on. 4.5. 3 tiles. 4.5. I get it. 4.5. Oh my goodness. 5. This is how we teach our students in the classroom. Give them 5 seconds. Why? Because they take too long sometimes. So we gotta keep them going. Okay, keep their brains active. You ready? You got 5 tiles. When we have 5 or 3 tiles, I lied. 3 tiles. Okay, 3. Just take out 3 tiles. Take out 3 tiles. Give me your hands. Raise your hands when you have your 3 tiles on your desk, so I can. All right. Are you ready? Since you guys all know how to use outcome boxes, we're gonna push up, right? I usually have a whiteboard. In my whiteboard, okay? Give me 1 second. In my whiteboard, if I have a whiteboard or if I have a sheet of paper, this is what I do. One, two, three. I just divide it as simple as I can. Okay, or you can do this. On your whiteboard, that way you're not wasting paper or anything. It's only if you have a whiteboard. Okay, you can also do it on paper. Okay, so are you ready? Okay, the first sound is k. It goes on your first box. So what's k? You slide it up. You're gonna push up. But the first sound is k. You're gonna push up that tile to the first box. You're gonna repeat. Second sound is ah. Ah. You're gonna push up to the second. And the last sound is t. Push up to your last box. What's that word? Cat. Okay, perfect. So that's how we use outcome boxes. Okay? Very easy. But when we are reading, if you look at this, most of us do what we call synthetic phonics, which is what I just did with you.
With different forms of how to teach phonics. So we can do cat. What's the word? The word is, let's say, dog. What's the word? Dog. So I scooped up the first 2. That's what body code is, okay? Analytics is just, again, recognizing the patterns. So we know the last act go together, so we're teaching how to rhyme, like bat and hat and cat, okay? And then when we have vowel patterns, at the end is producing, like, cat versus me, right? It's just, is it open, is it closed, right?
Now, again, when we're teaching orthographic skills, okay, we know that orthographic skills is what is orthographic skills? Just writing, spelling, dictation, right? We know that at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we put into print. So essentially, when we have three sounds, that means we have three spellings and we have three letters. So it helps us when we're dividing these words. Okay. Yes, I see you. I see your brains, right? Now, when we orthograph it, when we do mapping, right? This is goes into our part of the letter box or the part of the brain. Do you guys remember that part of the brain? It's like your assistant. Okay, so this is essentially how the brain stores written words, and how do we form that is by orthographic mapping, right? So this is an example of your map, and it's the same thing that your tiles are doing, right? We're putting it by sounds. You can do it as complex as this or as simple as I just did, okay? Now, syllables. Why is syllables important? I think Toby touched about this. What? Someone said it. Correct. So no matter what, it helps us decode, right? Syllables are important so we can decode. So we learn by hearing, and we then count and divide the words, right? It's the same thing we did with archipelago, right? That's how we do it, right? So now we have a bunch of syllable types. We have 6 syllable types. As educators, I think we know the 6 syllable types. That's which one is one that's hard for, let's say, to teach students? Which one? Those are really hard. They have a hard time with that, and then you have a hard time with the magic E. The magic E is always hard. So how do we incorporate multisensory with that? You have some popsicle sticks in your goodie bags. When we're teaching magic E, sometimes I like to attach a star to it or just some type of visual, and it has a letter E on it. So when we write the word, for example, cake, right? We know that CAK, but it's the magic E. We bring in the popsicle and put the E next to the word that we wrote. So it makes that connection that the star has a magic E at the end. Does that make sense? Okay. Now, let's see if I have time for this. I also find that breaking down words, like the word fantastic, is hard, or any type of multisyllabic words. So you have some index cards in your goodie bags. You're gonna write the word fantastic for me, and we're gonna go through this together. And I'm gonna teach you how we teach how to break it down. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Hands up when you're ready. All right. So, so how do we teach our students to divide fantastic? Okay, so you're going to write the word fantastic for me. We're gonna write it. And I'm going to walk you through the drills that we do at the Lucy Project, okay? So we're gonna look down and we're gonna look at the first 2 vowels. Under the first 2 vowels, you're gonna write the letter V. Go. V under the first 2 vowels. V under the first 2 vowels. It should look like this, right? Then we're gonna connect or draw the bridge. We're gonna connect or draw the bridge. So it looks like this. Connect or draw the bridge. And then we look up, and what do we see? What 2 consonants do we see? N and T. So you're going to put a C and a C under N and C. So you're going to put C and C. So usually in the classrooms or in the student decks, I have a cheat sheet with all the patterns, right? So I say, okay, is it a vowel consonant or is it consonant vowel? Okay, so we'd say consonant. So you're going to... Sometimes our kids are, what does that mean? Well, before we even do this, we can clap it out. How does fantastic sound? Fantastic. It's 3, right? So we know it's going to be automatically on fan. Fantastic. Okay, go. Divide it on the paper. Go. I'm trying to speed through it. All right? So that's the easiest way we can do it. Then we go into is it an open vowel or is it a closed vowel? Is fantastic an open vowel or a closed vowel? Closed. Okay, we put CL on top. The second one, closed as well, and then closed. Right? We do this before we give them the hard word, right? So this is to help divide in the multisyllabic word. Okay. Usually we don't read the word first. I give it to the student, and then we have them read it because they're struggling with that word. Okay. Make sense? Okay. Now with fluency again at the end of the day is just ability to read, to be automatic. Fluency is the Fluency is the ability to read, automatic. It's easy. Your brain just does it on its own. Okay. Now, if there are any gaps in phonics or any PA skills, phonological awareness skills, guess what's going to happen to fluency? There is none. They're going to be too busy trying to decode and too busy trying to figure out what does this word mean, and then they're not going to get reading comprehension. Okay. So with students like that, that means they're going to have zero motivation to read. They're not going to want to engage. So we have to teach that first so we can get to fluency. Okay? How do we increase this? Right? I always like to recommend audiobooks. Right? Audiobooks are like your secret weapon because students can actually read and follow along and they can hear the prosody or the intonation of it. Right? You also have core reading, which is reading together as a group. We say things together, it boosts our confidence, we learn from each other. Okay? Then we have echo reading. It allows the student to echo back as they read. So I say it and you repeat. Okay? Then we have reader's theater, which is another one I like to talk about. Let's say you're reading a story and you want to act out that story or that one line, right? It helps them get into character and it helps them understand at the end of the day what they're going to be reading or what they're reading about. All right? So that's always a fun one to do and engage in. In time readings, those are just drills, right? So we give them a page based on their level, and they read for 1 minute. After 1 minute, we get to this point and we say, Nadesh, we got up to here and this is the words that you missed. Let's try this again for another minute. And we do this in the first 5 minutes of the lesson or the last 5 minutes of the lesson. I like to do things at the beginning because it gets those drills out of the way and they can actually track and show their progress. And you can show them, wow, you did really good. Let's see if you can get to, you think you can get from 67 words read to 70? Oh my God, let's get to 70. I know you can do it. And what am I doing? I'm encouraging, I'm engaging, we're what? Yeah, we're Hong Kong. We keep going, right? Yes. Now, with morphology is one of the hardest ones for our kiddos, right? It's essentially the study of different parts. And it matters because it supports dyslexic. I'm sorry, it supports decoding with multisyllabic words. It expands vocabulary, and then without that, we need to read better, right? It increases reading comprehension. Okay. Now we have in morphology we have prefixes, right? Base words. Like all this is important when we're teaching our students how to write. So when we're spelling or read to decoding, right? Some of the things that we need to do is break down these words into these smaller parts so we teach them. So when they are reading and when they get this giant, multisyllabic word, they automatically know that M and IS go together or RE goes together when we're reading, or that A, B, and L, able, always go together, right? If they don't know these rules, it's gonna be really hard to read these giant words, okay? Now, syntax at the end of the day is just how the structure of their sentence is, okay? It is eventually, if it's weak, what ends up happening is, again, no reading comprehension. So I keep saying this because there's so many different parts when we're reading that we have to tie them together. And how do we target each of these skills? It's based on all these ideas or all these components I've been talking about, okay? Now, again, what happens with reading comprehension when we don't have decoding skills, right? I've been saying there's no meaning. If we have strong semantics, we have reading comprehension. We want to make sure that we get to this, right? That we cover all the different strands of the Scarborough rope, that we can make sure that we can connect it to reading comprehension, okay? So we want to make sure that we focus on the words, that we focus on the sentence, that we focus on text, that we focus on the goal, right? At the end of the day, what is the goal? reading comprehension of written language. Now, before we read, what are we doing? Are we doing anything before reading? Do you guys just hop into reading? No, what are you doing? Right? You're activating the background knowledge. Why is that important? They're showing them they're not coming empty-handed, but it also helps makes that connection, correct? What are we doing during reading? We're asking, right? We're teaching the words. If we have to reread, do we do it? Yes. And after reading, we're telling a story, right? Or we're writing a sentence, or we're doing some type of chart. This is a KWO chart that we do with reading that you guys can adopt. There's different forms of way of doing it, okay? It's similar to the one that Toby showed you guys with the vocabulary one, okay? Now, when we do before, right, can we reread the book with a buddy? Yeah, those are some activities that we can do. We can create a new ending. We can draw pictures, right? At the end of the day, what are we trying to do is that get that meaning, that comprehension in, right? And we can do it different ways. We can do it by painting, by coloring, by comparing, by even doing music. Make up a song or a rap about the story, right? Connect it somehow. How much time I have left? No? Okay, I just want to make sure we're on time. Okay, just keep going. Okay, so how do we support our dyslexic learners or our inclusive in an inclusive teaching setting? So same thing that I do is I say I do first, and then we do, and then you do. The idea is for eventually your scaffolding, right? Because it is type of scaffolding, but we are increasing independence. Okay, so for example, um, I see cat. Okay, the sound. I see the word cat. The sounds are k, a, t. I blend cat. Let's blend it. Cat. We did that earlier, right? Unwillingly and unknowingly. You didn't even notice we were doing it, but that's essentially what I did. I was breaking it down for you, right? Now let's say the sounds together. You ready? K. I don't hear you. K. At. Now you do. What's the word? Right? The idea is we increase independence, right? And then we can get that on their own and automatic. Okay? You can do this with paragraph writing. You can do this with all forms of levels, okay? Not just with phonics. Okay? Now, we repeat. Okay? Now, students don't learn by exposing them to one time. When we do things, we do it every day, and we do it the same way. We don't change it. We don't add sprinkle here, sprinkle over there. No, you keep it the same way. Okay? So we make it, for example, let's do a three-part Joe is what I call. So you have flashcards in your packet. You're gonna write these first. You're gonna write 10 letters that I'm gonna give you. Okay? And I'm gonna show you. The first one is M. So you're gonna write M on the flashcard. M. The second one is A. M A. The third one is L. O. You're gonna write in separate flashcards, okay? Just like I am. You guys are now watching. You're gonna get your cards, and each one is gonna have one letter. M. A. L. The next one is O. Each flashcard is a letter. All right. H is your next one. G. C. D. T. I think you have one more. P. Okay, so we're gonna practice what I call a three-part drill, and it's basically review. Okay, it's a review that we do at the beginning of the lesson. At the end of the lesson, you decide what helps better in your classroom, right? But we're doing this so we can repeat. We piggyback on what we taught before, okay, and we add that, and then we are keep doing it every day. Okay, so you guys get your flashcards. All right? You guys are ready? All right. When we do a three-part drill, I, the teacher, stand in the front and I show the letters. Okay? This is my deck of cards. And you will have a bunch of deck of cards based on what you've been teaching in your curriculum. So you may have more than these 10. Okay? So I show the card. If I have a kindergartner or a pre-K who's struggling, I say, I'm going to show you the letter, but I want you to repeat. Watch me. I do. M spells What is it? M spells Repeat. M spells Okay. A spells at. A spells at. L says ooh. Here's the sound. Ah. And I want to see the gestures that I've been teaching my students, right? So ah. So you're gonna when I show you the letter, you're just gonna tell me the sound. Ready? Yeah. All right. And some people go fast. Now this is part of the three-part drill. This is the first part. The second part, essentially, we have a whiteboard, or again, students can have a paper, right? In that paper, you're going to write 1 through 5, right? Grab a paper or index card, whatever you have with you right now. You're going to draw 1 through 5. And I'm going to give you just 5 sounds to practice, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. You can also do this part with sand. You can also do this part with shaving cream. You can also do this part with chalk with your finger. I'm going to give you the letter. You're going to tell me the sound. And you're going to write it as we're saying. So I do first. Okay. The sound is The letter is M. Repeat. And you write M says All right. And you write it as you go. And sometimes if there is no line, we put a line as well. Right? Because our letters can't flow away. They have to contain the line. Right? So, okay, the second sound is the second letter. Sorry. The letter is G. And you're saying Jesus. But you're writing it at the same time. Right? T. Jesus. You're writing it. H. Right? We got the 5 sounds. Again, you can do this part, sand, and all other multisensory ways. Okay? Now, the last part of the three-part drill is going back to your cards. Right? Your deck of cards usually you can write some words out. Right? So I will have what we call a blending board, some type of board. Right? I put them together, and then I say, all right, what is my first sound? Second sound? Let's put it like this. Is it a real word or a silly word? Silly word. You're changing this as you go based on what you've been teaching in the classroom. That's what we call it three-part. And you do this, and this should take about 10 to 15 minutes. Okay? Again, it goes back to multisensory. We clap our words, right? We tap our sounds. When we, for example, we're spelling out some words, and the student can't hear the sounds of the syllables, so we're tapping. Right? We can also do it with fingers, right? So, k, a, t, cat, and we pound out and we do those things, okay? Anything that you can involve multisensory will help your child learn, okay? We want to make sure we have clear routines. Now, because I think I have about, how many minutes I have left? Okay, all right. All right. I want to make sure that you guys open up your packets because there are some goodies in there for you for PA skills. Okay. Now, in your right hand side, right, I gave you some easy resources for teachers. Okay, this one, I'm going to walk you through it. Is It's called Classroom Tools Using Everyday Materials, inspired by the Structured Literacy Way. So what I did was I gave you the materials you need for that drill or for that example and how you're going to use it. Okay? It's a step-by-step guide for your students and for your classroom that you can apply. All right, it's supposed to be easy, affordable. Um, you can use egg cartons for multisensory. There is a um, one of them has a picture that I want to show it to you. Last one, yes, thank you. You see this one? So this one gives you examples how to use sound boxes if you don't have tiles. How do you use the bottle caps to do word when we were spelling, right? Sand, and we also have syllable splits we use with this clothespin. The clothespin spin. So these are different ways that you can use materials that you probably have already in your house, in the classroom. Okay. Now you're gonna be looking at this like, Christy, what is this? So we gave you this packet. Okay, this packet. This is for phonological awareness skills. Okay, so you can actually cut these down individually, and then we can play a game. So that's cup. What's the first sound? K. These are just resources you can cut, color, laminate for you. Okay. The other one is sound boxes in a shape of a car. So instead of having an Elkin box, you have a car. That sometimes is fun for your little kiddos. Okay. Let me point out another one. You have more pictures in there that you can use, ring, umbrella that you can cut out. Okay. You also have the actual Elcon boxes that I gave you. Okay, so you can cut them, print them, laminate them, and use them. Okay, so I gave you two different forms. Okay. There's another one in there, more resources. So this fishbowl, you can use it as a game. What I end up doing is some of our students, okay, the word is cat, you want to put them in the fishbowl, or maybe you want to write in the letters that you've already been working on, and you put them in that fishbowl and have them identify and take it out. Take out the fish from the fishbowl, right? You can be as creative as you want with these materials. Okay. Um, I gave you more words. I also gave you children books used in activities. They're just things that you can use and can purchase, for your classroom. Um, any other questions, concerns before I hop off? Yes, my computer is slow because it gave me that cue that, hey, these are some resources for learning. Reading Rockets is a really great resource that I like to share. You have understood.org, you have Coloring Colorado, Dyslexia. These are really great opportunities to go on and learn from. Now, so I just want to leave with this note that reading out loud daily is important. Slowing down instruction is really important, but checking and understanding more frequently. So as we're reading, we just don't read to read. We make sure we stop and we pause and we ask, okay? And we have to allow for multiple ways of showing to learn and how to read, right? We draw it, we say it, we point it. There's different ways we learn, okay? Now, what is one small change you can make tomorrow to better support a struggling reader based on what you learned today? Or based on what you have? What's one small change you can do tomorrow that you think you can apply? More sensory tools, right? Yes. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to get at. It's like if they can't read, okay, how? How do we teach that? Okay. Anyone in NASA has any questions? Is that online? Yeah. Okay. I can email it to you guys. Yes, I will make sure you guys get that in the email format. Yes. And I think if we have extra, then okay, then you will have those. Any other questions? Right? And I just want to drive this idea back home. Oh, you're welcome. Small consistent changes makes a big difference, okay? That's what I want to make sure you get that. So thank you guys. Um, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me. And I will send out this feedback form in the email format later, so you guys don't have to worry about it now. And then if you have any questions, concerns, you can email me at my email. Okay? Thank you.
We want to thank you so much, Chrissy. That was such great information and all the goodies and the handouts. I do want to add that EO teachers do this 3-part drill. So if your students work with EO teachers, they're already getting exposed to some of this and they enjoy it, especially the sensory part. Just quickly, I want to introduce myself. My name is Gabby Hudson. I've been with EEO for 20 years. And so many very familiar faces and worked with many of your kids. So we are so happy that you were all able to be here in person. And we're so happy for everybody that was able to make it online. We have teachers throughout Eleuthera, Family Islands, and also Nassau. So we're so happy that we all get to enjoy this. So Grand Bahama as well. Okay, so we are going to be breaking for lunch. But just before I give you guys some instructions for that, we wanted just to call your attention to in the back here, we have a QR code for Toby's form. So you can go ahead and use your phone and just be able to do that. And we also have on this side here, we're encouraging you guys to walk around. It's a nutrition board, a lot of really good information about how we can educate our students on proper nutrition. And there are also lesson plans that will be shared with you. So I can encourage you to do that. We will be doing the giveaways after lunch so we can get, but I know somebody around here had to answer the question and they need to come and get their prize. Okay, so we're going to be doing lunch in buffet style, but by table. So what we're going to do is we're going to be going out the side door where Miss Anna Lewis is, and she'll guide you over to the kitchen. You'll pick up lunch, and you can come out this way. Okay, so we would like to ask our presenters if you guys would like to go first. Oh, right where Miss Anna Lewis is, on the side there. She will direct you. And take this time too to talk with each other, problem solve, share experiences. Yeah. So once you're up and you're able to go around and look at some of these goodies. We also have some fresh island bananas in the back for as snacks. And please, if there's any resources that we're giving away that you feel that they're just very good and can work in your classroom, let us know, because that means we can work on getting some more into the schools as well. So we'll have this table go next where Michael is. Michael, do you mind standing? And you guys can go ahead towards the side door here where Miss Anna Lewis is. Please also ask questions as you get to the nutrition section here. We've been working with other Caribbean islands. Tessa has been meeting up with, there was a coalition of nutrition, and different Caribbean islands were expressing their concerns on students and their foods and what is being given at school and how to educate them more. So she has a lot of really interesting information. So I encourage you to also ask her if you have any questions. Okay, Miss Galanis, you got your table can go ahead. I'm gonna wait till the first table comes out, and then we'll call the next table. Okay, perfect. Okay, so just an announcement for those on Zoom or we are going to put up the code for Toby Cohen's Google Sheet. If you would like to sign up for the following trainings, you're welcome to scan that, and it should take you to a Google form, and you'll just have to sign up. Oh, yes. We have some water here. So anybody wants to refill, we also have water bottles in the back. So please feel free. Okay, so I want to introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Nadej Josil. Hopefully, close, close enough. She's the Youth Development Program Director at Saint La Haitian Neighborhood Center. So I'll let her come up and tell you a little bit more about herself. And the topic is supporting Haitian learners through visual and classroom modifications.
Thank you so much. All right, good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Now, they got me with the okie doke of giving me after lunch. I know what that means, all right? So I'm going to encourage you all to just hang in there with us for just a little while longer. Father God in heaven, Lord, we are so grateful for the opportunity you have given us to come, grow, learn together, Lord, that we might be able to serve our children well. We ask, oh God, that as we continue with this day, Father, that you would continue to be with us, that this moment would be one that we will remember for many years to come, Lord. And again, what we learn here, again, these are just planting seeds, Father, but may we see the fruit of our labor soon and very soon. We ask these in Jesus' name. Amen. Bet. All right, so I got that one out the way. Thank you so much for bearing with me on that. The second thing I really wanted to do is to give you guys a great shout out. This is an amazing turnout, and I know that we have some online participation as well. So give yourselves a round of applause just for being present, just for being engaged, and just for being willing to learn and grow. Same thing for the EEOB team. This is amazing, yeah? I'm hearing that this is history in the making, actually, yeah? All right, so shout out to the EEOB team. Come on, y'all go ahead, shout them up, clap them up, clap them up. Tessa don't mind. Go ahead, go ahead. And lastly, I wanted to give a shout out to Ms. Cunningham and her team as well. Go ahead, Ms. Cunningham. Give her a shout out. Good job. Good job. Thank you all so much for making something like this possible. I was a teacher for 10 years before going into educational consulting. Have you guys ever heard of a saying? They said, those who can do and those who can't teach. Yeah, I've heard of that. Those who can do and those who can't teach. One of my first classes in my teaching program, it said those who can teach. Okay? This isn't a profession that anyone can do, even though too often we hear things like, oh, that didn't work out. Why don't you just teach? Y'all heard of that? Is it just me? Every time somebody says that, I'm just like, okay. Right, because I didn't go to school for 4 years and another 2 years, just to make this thing happen, because it's just that easy. So again, I really respect and appreciate what you all do. And again, I would encourage you guys to make sure those around you, you hold them accountable for doing the same. All right, now that we have all of those things out of the way, I am a walker and a talker. Oh, okay. Look, they got me on the screen too. Don't get me from the back, y'all. Don't do that. Don't do that. I'm a walker and a talker, so I'll be walking around as well, just to keep y'all on y'all toes too, because again, if y'all like me, the food was good, and now we're ready for a nap. So I'll keep it moving. I'll try my best to do so, and I just encourage you all to be engaged as well. We're going to start with a short video. We are living in a moment of educational history. as special education structures expand in the Bahamas, and as Haitian learners enter classrooms in greater numbers, we are not responding to a challenge. We are building a future. Together, we can design classrooms that work for all learners. So, that was my introduction. We're going to be talking about visual strategies and classroom modifications that you all can use in your classroom to accommodate and include Haitian English language learners, right? Now, by a raise of hands, how many of you guys have at least one Haitian student in your classroom? At least one. Keep your hands up if you have at least 5. All right, keep your hands up if you have at least 10. Keep your hands up if you have at least 15. Okay, keep your hands up if you have 20 plus. About 20. Okay, thank you very much. That was a quick assessment on my end just so that I know the audience, right, and who we're going to be working with. So, introduction and then a disclaimer. Now, I heard y'all said we could just talk, right? Anybody got me on a timer? No timers? You got me on a timer. Thank you very much. Please give me a 10-minute warning if you don't mind. Appreciate you. Okay, so part of my introduction is again part of my background, and this is just so that you know who it is that's standing in front of you. So first and foremost, again, I was a teacher for 10 years. After teaching for 10 years, I transitioned into the educational consulting space. What that means is I work with all parents and youth between the ages of 0 and up, right? It all depends on their role and what their need is. And again, I work for St. La Haitian Neighborhood Center, and so our target audience is the Haitian population in South Florida. All right, so from 0 to 5, this means that where our main focus is preparing students for school, and this includes a very strong focus on building literacy and equipping parents so that they feel equipped to be their child's first support in learning. I never say first teacher for the same reason I just said. If teaching was a job like that, we don't say your first doctor, we don't say your first anything else, right? And so we want to make sure that they can provide support before they go into the classroom. K through 12 will look a little different. It depends on, again, what their needs are. If they're a struggling student, if they're an advanced student, that's going to look a little different. And then once they're ready to graduate, or if they're coming in with already having achieved their high school diploma or their GED, then the focus is on what pursuits do they want post-secondary, right? So again, the workforce, college, university, or a trade or vocational program. All right, and so that covers, again, pretty much what I do now. This comes from being a lifelong learner and truly passionate about education. All of my degrees are in education, and that includes curriculum and instruction. That includes education, innovation, and technology. And again, I started with secondary English education. Again, while I'm just going to be up here for a short time, I find that it's valuable to know who it is that's standing in front of you, and so consider that to be my introduction to you all. Now, the disclaimer piece starts with understanding that not everything will apply to everyone, and with that, let me get out of the way. Okay? Now, some of this may be repetition for you guys. Some of this may be brand new information. My hope and my goal today is really just to thing. Maybe it's a new way to implement an old strategy. Maybe it's the first time you've heard of a strategy. But please know, again, that if some of it is repetitive, forgive me, right? Be patient and encourage those around you to kind of master it if you have mastered it. Okay? The second thing is that the strategies we're going to implement should be applicable universally. So there's not going to be anything that's necessarily grade specific or subject specific. Now, that doesn't mean that some won't lend themselves to a particular grade or won't lend themselves to a particular subject, but the idea is that you'd be able to apply them. Positive intent. And I say this because sometimes the topic of dealing with foreign students, in our case, Haitian students, may come with some stereotypes and it may come with some stigma. But the assumption is that all of us are here to learn and grow together. That's number one. And number two, that we all have a wealth of knowledge that we're bringing to the table, right? And so none of us are coming empty-handed. We're going to build this knowledge together today. Is that okay? Phenomenal. Yeah, thumbs up, raised hands. Yes, ma'am. Okay, I meant to give that as my next disclaimer. Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So please, if there's anybody, will you be my signal, Miss Cunningham, if I start talking fast again? Or anyone who wants to give me that, because I am a fast talker. Thank you so much, Toby. I am a very, very fast talker. In Creole, they actually call pepet mayi, which means that I speak like popcorn. All right, so that is my nickname. So again, if y'all notice that in my excitement that I begin to run off, please again, I'll be looking at you, Kobe. Just slow down. All right, thank you all. All right, so again, what the video is saying is that we are currently living in a moment of educational history, right? And so, as special education is expanding in the Bahamas, then we also have, of course, a huge influx of Haitian learners who are entering the classroom in greater numbers. However, what we're doing today is not responding to a challenge. And I really hope that you guys are not looking at it that way. Instead, I'd like to reframe it as we are building a future, right? And so, with our theme being Together We Can, throughout this presentation, there will be times where I invite you all to say this with me and consider it your rally cry, and we'll finish the sentences together, right? So, this is our first practice. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Yes? Phenomenal. Together we can design classrooms that work for all learners. Thank you so very much. We'll be doing that a lot. All right. Now, there's another side of me. This is all setting us up. Okay, I promise. Another side of me as a researcher that has learned the power of a positionality statement. Anyone ever heard that before? Positionality statement is making sure that you are very much aware of what you bring to the table, right, for anything that you're going to undertake. Just taking a moment to understand that all of us come with, again, everything we just said, right? A wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experiences that we bring to the table. And so what I've done is I'm going to be very honest with you guys as far as what my positionality statement is, what am I bringing to the table, what my own thoughts and biases may be, and I want you guys to then kind of talk about your own. I'm going to jump over to this side because I feel like I'm on that side too much. All right, so one of the things that I want you guys to know about me is that I believe that we all enter classrooms carrying identities shaped by work, by faith, by culture, and by community. And so I intentionally step into those intersections because I truly believe that this is where transformation is happening. Secondly, I am rooted in the belief that every single person carries inherent worth. Because of that, I reject identities that diminish or stereotype. I am committed to affirming the identity and potential of every learner. Third, I also believe in self accountability. I hold myself to high standards. I actively work to dismantle imposter syndrome in myself, because yes, I battle it too often, as well as in others. I am very, very mindful of the language I use, or try to be, because I believe that language can either reinforce our limitations or it can affirm our possibilities. And fourthly, education is not simply my profession. It is the channel through which my purpose comes to life. I am here today with you all, not just to share strategies, but to invite us all to shared responsibility. And so we're going to practice this again. Can y'all see it? The little itty bitty words down there? All right. Together we can create classrooms where students are seen, valued, and empowered to thrive with confidence and authenticity. Phenomenal. So now I'm going to invite you guys to think. Oh, did you guys get the PowerPoint slides? Oh, so let's pause right there and do that. I believe we had the copies. With the lines for the notes. That's okay. No? All right. Well, while they're doing that, we can keep going. And then those are the worksheets. Okay, but not the other stuff. No worries, no worries. Okay, so on a sheet of paper, if you guys have any, or on the back of a sheet of paper, I want you all to first start thinking about what experiences, beliefs, and assumptions do you think shape how you interpret behavior, language, and ability? Just think about that for a few seconds, and then I'm going to have you write. So don't write. You don't have to write your response here. Just think about it. So the question again is, what experiences, beliefs, and assumptions shape how you interpret behavior, how you interpret language, and how you interpret ability? Thumbs up when you feel like you've had a chance to think about it. Y'all still thinking? Okay. Thank you. All right, I see some thumbs going up. Thumbs up when you feel like you've had a chance to think about it. Thank you. I see some more thumbs going up. Thank you. More thumbs. I'll wait for about 4 or 5, and then we'll move on to the next slide. And again, those of you who are following online, please feel free to do the same. And if you want to share, just put your responses in the chat. Thank you, sir. I see your thumbs up. Oh, no, you guys can't see that. All right, so I will share the questions. I'll repeat them as we go so that you all can now write your responses. Right? First question, when a student is quiet, what do I assume? These responses are for your eyes only. You are not sharing them, but you are writing them down so that you see them. When a student is quiet, what do I assume? First question, when a student is quiet, what do I assume? Again, responses are for your eyes only. Yes, it is. When a student is quiet, what do I assume? I'll give you guys a few more seconds and then we'll go on to the next question. All right, next question. When a student struggles with English, what do I assume? Again, no judgment. No one will be looking at your responses. This is between you and the Lord and whoever can see your paper who's sitting next to you. When a student struggles with English, what do I assume? Look at y'all. Some of y'all scared to write y'all responses. I'm like, nah. Again, last time, when a student struggles with English, what do I assume? Again, judgment-free zone, guys. It's a conversation we will have, but I won't be asking you to respond. If y'all want to share, you're more than welcome. Last question. When a family is not highly visible at school, what do I assume? When a family is not highly visible at school, what do I assume? When a family is not highly visible at school, what do I assume? So again, number 1, when a student is quiet, what do I assume? Number 2, when a student struggles with English, what do I assume? And thirdly, when a family is not highly visible in the classroom, what do I assume? And clearly, of course, there are no wrong answers because we're not sharing them, but we want you to have it on a piece of paper, and maybe you reflect on it, maybe afterwards you'll look at it, maybe you'll reevaluate, maybe you'll affirm and confirm some of the things that you've assumed, right? But this is just for you guys to just have a starting point. All right, now in the interest of time, I am going to continue, but does anybody need me to respond or repeat any of the questions one more time? Awesome, thank you. All right. So assumptions are human. We all of us make assumptions, right? And so this isn't about vilifying anyone. This isn't about blaming or assigning blame to anyone. Assumptions are a part of who we are and what we do. But unchecked assumptions become barriers. Would we all agree? So together we can, where y'all at? Examine our lens before we examine our students. All right, so next thing I want you all to do very quickly, you're not writing this down, we're just setting the stage. Think of a time you were in a space where you didn't understand the language. And these I do want you all to respond to out loud, right? So, first, just think of a time when you were in a space where you didn't understand the language. And after you've done that, I'd love to get some responses, maybe 2 or 3 for each. What helped you feel safe? That's one question. Second question is what made it worse? Think about it. When you're ready, raise your hand. Think of a time when you were in a space where you didn't understand the language. For those of you who like anime, maybe the subtitles weren't on for some of your anime. See, you see? Y'all would think about different stuff. If you've gone to another country, right? You got off. Maybe there was somebody at the airport who spoke English, but that was about it, or spoke a language you understood. Yes, ma'am? I'm gonna put the mic. Is that okay?
That's fine. But the first one, what helped me feel safe is that I had a friend who spoke the language, and she told me, "Okay, they're not talking about you."
That's good to know. Okay.
Yeah, right.
Thank you. Go ahead. You had another one for the what made it worse?
No.
No. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much for sharing. Your name? Cynthia. Thank you so much for sharing, Cynthia. Anyone else? What helped you feel safe? And again, those who are following online, if they have anything they'd like to share, please let me know. Oh, you got a mic. Okay.
Someone said reassuring smiles, facial expressions were pleasant.
Nice. Thank you. All right. So Cynthia mentioned having a friend, right, who just reassured her, number one, they're not talking about you, which is important, right? Sometimes you're not worried about what they're saying. You just want them to not be talking about you. Thank you. All right. And then someone online also mentioned reassuring smiles and
Reassuring smiles, facial gestures. The worst was angry utterances and annoyance by others.
aye. Okay. So what made it worse? Angry utterances. All right. And
Somebody else said reading the room made me feel safe and attention being put on the fact that I may not understand made it worse.
made it, oh, okay, that's fair, right? When somebody pays too much attention to the fact that this person doesn't understand, and then now they're pinpointing you, oh, that person doesn't understand what you're saying, right? That can often make people feel a little uncomfortable, like the spotlight is on them, right? And so in this case, it made it worse. All right, so let's recap. Again, things that made it good, or made you feel safe. What made you feel safe? Smiles, thank you. One of the things that made you feel safe, that's something we all can do, right? Reassuring facial gestures was another one. Having someone, right? If you have a peer or someone who can support the translation efforts or just make sure that you know that you're not being targeted, that was another way that you felt safe. What were some of the things that made it worse? Angry expressions. Angry expressions made it worse. You know, people are angry. You're not sure if it's you that they're angry at, or if they're frustrated with the fact that you don't understand the language. And then the last one I thought was important as well is when the spotlight is on you, right? And you don't necessarily want so much attention. So you don't want to be completely left out, but you don't necessarily want all of the attention to be on you. All right? So again, that feeling, some of the feelings that I heard expressed through some of those groans, right? The vulnerability, cognitive exhaustion. We didn't really talk about that, but the constant effort of trying to figure out what are they saying, right? Can absolutely lead to some of that cognitive exhaustion. And of course, these are some of the things that your students will be carrying into the classroom every single day. every single day, and understand that the minute they leave, the minute they begin to get ready for school, these are things that are going to be on their minds, and these are things that they're thinking about, right? But together we can reduce that weight. We can, and hopefully today you'll have some tools to be able to do so. So now let's talk about some context. Haitian Creole is a full language. You can raise your hand if you want to, but you don't have to. How many of you guys have heard that Haitian Creole is broken French? Oh, okay, wow. Okay, thank you so much. Broken French, right? And so a lot of people who find out that I speak Creole, oh, I speak French, so we good. Nah, I don't speak French like that. I can't help you. Okay. I can understand some, but two completely different things. So as of 1987, Haitian Creole was actually adopted into the Haitian Constitution as an official language of the country next to French. So yes, French was considered the official language only, but as of 1987, it's now become the two languages, right? And so while you still have a lot of French being spoken in academic settings, Haitian Creole was considered the language that united all of the people, okay? So yes, Creole has its own grammar, its own syntax, its own rules. So when students come, am I speaking too fast? I'm good? A little bit, okay. I slow down a little. Yeah, I felt myself. All right, so students may come into your classroom, of course, speaking Creole at home, right? That's something that could commonly take place, but not always. So I do want to make sure that that is also understood. There are some homes, Haitian people, students, families, whichever, that do not speak any Creole in the home whatsoever. That does happen. If they are more Frenchified, that's what I call them, then they do have French as the standard language, both in academic settings as well as in homes. All right. Two, of course, have exposure to French academically. Of course, for most of our history, French was considered the acceptable language in any academic setting. So again, if they went to school, they usually spoke French, and they did not speak French, then they were not allowed to speak French in the classroom. So remember that that's something that has recently changed, but many of them will have exposure to the French in academic settings. And of course, now they're going to be learning English as they integrate into different spaces, right? So understand that many of our students may be navigating three different linguistic systems. Three. All right. And of course, this would be considered a cognitive strength. Would we agree? Right? Learning one language is hard. Can you imagine having to navigate three? Another part of the context is that many of our students may be, am I in Yahweh? Many students have experienced interrupted schooling. Okay? So let's talk about it. So first, many students have missed months or years of schooling. In the US right now, many students are afraid to go to school. We have crazy numbers in South Florida, about 16,000 of our students that stopped showing up. They either, again, are staying home, or they've left the city, or they've left the country, right? And so because of that, you're going to have gaps in their learning. There are also some, because they've made the trip from Chile, from Brazil, into the US, there are also gaps in their learning, right? Because they have had to move. Same thing happens if they had to move from place to place. Same thing happens now, of course, as people are coming into the Bahamas, as they are going across other places around the world, right? And so all of those things will lead to gaps in learning, and those things may be aggravated by so many other things, but just for the sake of time, we're not going to go into all of them. But as far as setting up context for you all, when they come into your classroom, it could be that they never did fifth grade at all, right? Or it could be that, oh, I forgot to add, again, all of the turmoil happening in many places in Haiti right now as well, right? So you have in Port-au-Prince, which is one of the capital of the country, you have many pockets in Port-au-Prince where kids cannot go at all. I want to clarify, it's not everywhere, and it's not the entire country, right? There are some places that are just fine, and they live in their life. But there are pockets where extreme violence does exist, and those kids cannot go to school, right? And so again, as they're leaving, and many of them are, and as they're able to leave, they're also going to have experience gaps in their learning. Of course, some of this is going to be connected to migration stress, right? You know what it is. Have anybody moved from one house to another house? Moved before? Y'all remember the stress of moving? Finding a whole bunch of stuff that you didn't know was there, a whole bunch of stuff that you haven't used before, and then having to go set up at a new house. So you can imagine what that is on a larger scale, for them to have to pick up everything, settle again, pick up everything again, resettle, right? And so, of course, these kids are coming with a level of migration stress as well, or at least many of them will be, right? And then thirdly, putting this into context for today, many may not have ever had access to structured special education services previously. And so again, often because there is a language barrier, it's either hard to detect or it comes later that there's also a need for additional support through special education services, right? And so understand that many families, do you guys have an IEP here? Is that a thing? Sorry, EEO teachers. Okay, so it's an individualized education plan, right? And so this is something that students who are identified as ESC may have. Some students, again, I work with families who are going in for that first meeting. They don't know what that is. They don't know what that means, right? And so understand that because they don't know, the kids don't know, this is also a new space that they're navigating. And so again, what is the strength in this? The strength in this is that, again, today you guys are setting, slow down. Today you guys are setting history, right? And so I consider it to be that we are building this plane even as we're flying the plane, right? And there is power in that, and it is something to be excited about because we have the opportunity to do it right. All right, so now we're gonna jump in. Let's talk about some of your strategies. First, before we do that again, I'm a big proponent of experiential learning. All right, so we're gonna practice this first. You're gonna need a sheet of paper. So if y'all could get one, you're gonna need a sheet of paper. And what we're going to do is really just simulate the language barrier. Now, does anybody in here speak Creole besides Gabby? Anyone speak Creole? Oh, I see you back there, Jenny. You don't count. All right. Okay, no one else. All right, bet. So this will work. We're also going to demonstrate that cognitive load, and then hopefully we'll reveal the power of visuals. All right. So again, thumbs up once you have your paper ready to go. I'll start. All right, I see a few more people who are still getting themselves set up. I do wait on hands, guys. I do wait. So thank you so much. All right. Let me see. Anybody need a little time? Good. So this is what we're about to do. I'll put my clicker down. If I forget it, I'll put it right here, y'all. All right. Thank you. I am going to explain a set of directions. Because you guys are at a disadvantage, I'm going to say it in Creole. In addition to saying it in Creole, I'm going to provide gestures. So I don't know, somebody else may need to hold the mic so I can, do some gestures. I like you, Tessa. You be ready. You be ready. All right? And then we're going to talk about what that experience was like. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? Ready? All right, bet. I don't want to see nobody give up. I don't want. All right? We're going to do this thing. Okay, bet. Let's do it. All right. Nous prêts? Good job. Okay, premier ça n'a fait? Wait, no, you can.
Oh.
I was like, yeah, you're good. I am going to need the mic. Oh, this is going to be weird. That's okay, we'll make it happen. Okay, premier ça n'a fait? Nous pourrons tracer sous papier. Hein? Nous pourrons tracer un carré. Go ahead, no, do it. Go ahead. Nous pourrons tracer un carré. Un carré. Nous, ça m'a fait, nous avons tracé un carré. Fais ça. Nous avons tracé un carré. Ça nous comprendre là, c'est ça nous fait. Ça nous comprendre là, nous mettre fait. I'm not gonna tell y'all your name. You know? do what you think is happening. Whatever you think it is. But I'm using gestures and I'm using language. All right? Tracer yon carré. OK, ça c'est premier ça va faire. Premier, tracer carré. OK, deuxième balle qu'on a fait. OK? Konya, nous pral tracer yon triangle. Mais on va tracer triangle en dedans carré. OK? So on va tracer triangle mais on va mettre en dedans carré. Nous là, nous comprenons. N'a suivre. So premier ça n'a fait tracer carré. Deuxième ça n'a fait c'est tracer triangle en dedans carré. Nous là? Nous là. OK. Troisième là? She said C. OK, troisième ça n'a fait qu'on y a, nous pral colorer triangle seulement. So triangle seulement. OK, all right. Triangle seulement nous pral colorer. À colorer. D'accord? En forme. En forme, en forme, en forme. So bon faire encore la préviser. Premier ça n'a fait tracer carré. Ça c'est premier ça n'a fait. OK, deuxième ça n'a fait n'a tracé triangle en dedans carré. Troisième ça n'a fait nous allons colorer triangle seulement. Seulement triangle. OK? Quand il y a quatrième ça n'a fait. Quatrième ça n'a fait nous allons écrire non nous. Écrit non. Écrit non. Non pas. Ou écrit non. Oui. Non. Ou écrit non sous papier. So ou écrit non. Non pas. Oui. OK? Ou écrit non. Yeah. Yeah. Exact. OK? Et puis cinquième ça n'a fait. Cinquième ça nous va le faire. Cinquième ça n'a fait qu'on y a nous pour mettre un sec sous nous. Un sec. Un sec. Mais on va faire sous nous. Sous nous. OK? On va écrire un sec sous nous. OK? So, on finit écrire nous, on finit écrire nous, qu'on y a, on va mettre un sec sous. D'accord. D'accord. OK. Nous prêts? Enfant? Nous finis. Nous finis. Nous finis. Nous finis. Anybody online? Were there any comments online? I love it. I love it. You know what this means? This means it's memorable. Y'all gonna remember this. All right, bet. How was that? Hard. What are the words? Jenny was like, great. It was great. Jenny was like, it was fine for me. Any other words? Hard. Confusing. Overwhelming. Yes. Bet. Did anyone feel less intelligent in that moment? Did anyone feel... It's all right. Anyone feel less intelligent? Okay. Did anyone feel confused? I heard confusing, right? Raise up hands if you felt confused. Bet. All right. Did anyone feel unsure? You felt unsure about whether or not you were doing this thing right. Right? Beautiful. And did anyone feel anxious? Anyone feel anxious? Like, oh, so let's talk about that. Number one, because I don't know what's going on, I must not be smart. Right? Can we at least agree that that may be a feeling our students are having? Right? Secondly, confused. I don't know what you're saying. You can use all the gestures in the world, but I don't know what you're saying. Right? There's going to be a level of confusion. Third, I'm unsure if I'm getting it right. I'm going to try. I'm going to do what I can, but I really don't know. There's not that, you know, when like you know that you know that you know something, and the teacher's going to tell you the answer, but you already know you got the right answer. These kids may not have that, right? I know I'm doing something and I know I'm doing my best, but I don't know if I'm going to get this right. And of course, that can lead to some anxiety. What if when I get this wrong, the kids laugh at me? The teachers get upset. They do some of those angry gestures. They give some of those angry comments, those facial gestures, right? All of those things can happen. And as a result, I'm already feeling anxious, even though I don't even know if I got it right or wrong yet, right? So these, again, just an idea of some of the things our kids are going through. So of course, there's going to be, it says cognitive load, but I would say cognitive overload. Number one, the working memory is overloaded. I don't have enough in storage in order for me to bring forth the results that I'm looking for, right? Secondly, we focus more on decoding than thinking. I love the fact that y'all set me up so well, Toby and Christy, yeah, because they talked about decoding already. If I'm so focused on decoding, there's no way I'm actually thinking about what's going on. I don't understand what you're saying. And all of my efforts will be put towards that, right? There was a student on the video who mentioned this as well. Then, of course, we're going to worry about being wrong. And as a result, I'm going to do what? Disengage. Correct. I'm just going to give up. It's better for me to be quiet. You heard that about fools? Better to be quiet and somebody think you're a fool than to open your mouth and confirm. Right? So maybe it's better, okay, they know I don't understand, but they don't know I'm dumb. I'd rather just disengage, right? And while this isn't going to be, and I will say this often, this isn't going to be the experience of every single student. That's not what we're saying. What we're saying is that it may be the experience of some, it may be the experience of the majority, and so it's important to understand what it is that's going on, right? So remember again, we're talking about strategies with visuals. So now let's try this again. Number one, what we doing? We're gonna try. Hey, take some video. Color the triangle. Who said that? Good job. Thank you. Color the triangle. We got that one. Fourth one, what are we gonna do? Thank you. We're gonna write your name, and then fifth one, we're gonna circle it. Applying visuals will support the same task. So the same way I could say it with language, the same way I could use gestures, right? Just by adding visuals, it's going to change the game for your students. They don't have the language yet, but they can understand this a lot better than they could probably understand the gestures alone or the language alone. All right, so now tell me what changed. What changed between when I was doing it and then when we had the visuals? Clear instructions. What else? Understanding, of course, comprehension becomes a whole lot easier. What else? What about how you guys felt engaging in the activity? How about confidence, right? There's a level of confidence now that I might be able to do this thing right. What else? Less anxious, right? And as a result, you're going to have less anxiety, hopefully, right? Because again, there's a level of confidence, there's a higher level of comprehension happening. All right. So again, we talked about the differences. We won't have you guys write that piece out, but understanding the difference between auditory only versus implementing some visual supports, right? So sometimes language access determines perceived confidence. I'm gonna say that one more time. Language access can determine, I should put can determine, perceived competence. Our ability to assess a child's competence or capacity can be limited due to their language access. However, together we can separate intelligence from English proficiency. Thank you. All right, first strategy, of course, anchor vocabulary visually. Anchor vocabulary visually. Again, if you guys want to write this down or take pictures, whatever works for you, or you guys may get the PowerPoint afterwards. One simple thing that you can do in your classroom, and I said simple, not easy, is anchor your vocabulary visually. So again, sometimes teachers define the word verbally, they write the definition, and they move on. Toby gave a great example. It's one of the things I am a huge fan of, Freyer models. That Freyer model, you could do whatever you want with a Freyer model. So again, you close it up into squares. I don't know if y'all remember, when she folded it into squares, it was 4 boxes, and then in the middle, you put the word. But in addition to the definition, you can put a sentence, you can put an example, you can put a non-example, you could also add a picture. Beautiful, beautiful. So all of those categories you can choose, right? And if you know that you have an English language learner in your classroom, you can also accommodate that English language learner by adding a picture. Or you can add the picture and have them do the rest of it, right? I'll give you the picture, you come up with a definition that works for you, an example and a non-example, right? So for me, Freyer models are one of the best ways to do this. They're not the only way. So again, adding an image, a simple language, some arrows, labeling, and of course, keep it uncluttered. You want to make sure they get the concept, again, without creating too many distractions. So for example, you could on the board write, evaporation is when liquid turns into gas. Are you wrong? No. Is that accessible to an English language learner? Probably not. So what could you do instead? Add a picture of the water. Create an arrow going upwards. You have a sun icon. You put the word evaporation, and then you add a simple phrase. Water goes up. How many of us teach evaporation? Anybody? Thank you so much. I was like, man, will this be relevant to anyone? All right? If you show this to an English language learner, they have not only the words, they're going to be like, okay, number one, I may know that word in my own language. Remember that. Some students may already know this word and they know the concept, they just don't have the English word for it. So just by showing them that, they go, oh, I don't know what the Creole word for it is, or I'm going to say evaporation, right? And they're like, okay, that's it, I get it. For a child who may not have that background knowledge, you can at least begin to create some scaffolding, right? By creating, again, the picture, by showing the arrow, by showing some words, but not a lot of words, keeping it uncluttered, you can still help them to get the concept, right? And so this is what we mean by anchoring some of your vocabulary visually. Now, again, how many of y'all use AI? AI. AI will help you in so many different ways, and every time I Google AI, there's more. So AI created that picture for me because I needed something specific, right? So I literally went, I don't remember which one it was, but I went to AI and I said, create a graphic, right, that shows the process of evaporation. And I need a sun, I need an arrow, and I need the phrase, water goes up. And they came up with that. So if you have AI and if you have access to AI, great. If not, use your students. Use your students to create exemplars, post them in the classroom, right? And that way, again, you can also have that one. So again, you can use the tech route, but again, if technology is not a thing, you can still make it happen. All right, so by creating this picture where you're able to provide a visual anchor to your vocabulary, you're gonna reduce the language demand, but you're not reducing the content. Everybody still learned the same thing, right? But again, a student who is not necessarily proficient in English can also access that same content. And it's important to make the distinction because again, sometimes we think that we're watering it down, right? By keeping the language simple, but that's not what we're asking for. All right, so another way to provide visual support is through visual sentence frames. I'm sorry you guys can't see that very well. This is what happens when you get too creative. So again, I taught reading and English, right? And I was usually working with what they consider to be the lowest 25%. And I say that because it's just another label we put on children unnecessarily, but it is what it is. And of course, they didn't always have the language in order to create sentence stems. And I also want to clarify that this wasn't just for English language learners, right? I worked with a population that had a very strong colloquial English, but didn't necessarily have strong academic English. So everybody was born in the country, but they all spoke different versions of English. And so part of my responsibility in the classroom is to create common language, right? And I say that to say the challenge isn't necessarily somebody learning English for the first time, but creating common language in your classroom so that everybody speaks the same kind of English, okay? So sentence stems was one of the ways that I did it, and it was simple. Sometimes they'd be like, nah, that's dumb. I was like, bro, that's not a response. I need more information. Can you tell me why you think that's dumb? Can you use something else besides nah? So they would look at their table and there would be a list of sentence stems and I would say, pick the one you think makes the most sense and start your sentence that way. And then we'll see about how you finish the sentence. So sentence stems are amazing. But for somebody who doesn't speak English at all, creating a visual sentence stem, right, provides additional support. So I disagree. I'm talking about me. So you say the picture me. Because you say that you're thinking about something. You create that little, well, I'm using icons here. Again, you can create what makes sense. And then you give the reason. Just by creating a visual, yes, they see the word. They also know that the word is going to prompt them to do something else. And then eventually they'll be able to put it together. Now they're going to get to the point where they're going to give you, a nice long supportive sentence with paragraphs. No. But this is your ability, this is your way of helping them get there. Make sense? Phenomenal. On the bottom, I put there that icons cue structure. Because somebody, at least who has access to some English, can see I disagree because and know where to go, a student who doesn't will use the icons and that would be their way of knowing which way to go. So participation builds language faster than silent observation. This is the goal, right? You have a student in your classroom who doesn't necessarily speak English. I was speaking real fast there. I felt it. All right. You have a student in your classroom who doesn't necessarily, yes? Huh? Oh, I thought somebody said question. Who doesn't necessarily speak English, right? And it's easy. And I see it. Again, I'm in school too. We have a Chinese student in my classroom. Nobody asks him any questions, and nobody engages with him in class. So he's literally in the back. He falls asleep. He's online. He's doing his own thing. He's talking to his family on WhatsApp, because I'm being nosy, you know. He's doing everything but engaging in the classroom, right? But if we can provide some sort of support for them to access some of the language, they actually will learn it faster just by being able to engage than being a silent participant in your classroom. Now, again, I've seen it too often to say that it can't happen at all, because I've seen it, and students pick up English very, very quickly, right? Some. But if they're participating in the classroom, they'll be able to build their language faster. Third strategy, color coding. Another one of my favorites. If your student comes into your classroom and they know, whether it's on their handout, whether it's on the board, whether it's on your wall, every time they see blue, it's an instruction, it's a direction. Every time they see green, they know it's vocabulary. Every time they see yellow, they know it's examples. And every time they see pink, they know that they're expected to provide a response. By providing, again, a color coding structure, you're going to lower that anxiety of not knowing what I'm doing, of not knowing what's happening, right? And knowing when I'm doing the right thing. Just through a simple color coding strategy. And I said simple, not easy. All right? Because I know sometimes good ideas become a lot of work. And I do think it's a good idea. All right. When we talk about color coding, what I've done here is provided additional. So in addition to the color coding, I've added it in Creole. So again, when I see directions, ça c'est instruction que wap besoin. And in English, that means how you're going to do the activity. In Creole, qui j'en parle faire activité. Those of them who can read in Creole will also have that. So again, they have the color coding. That will be a huge help. But if you're able to add it in their own language as well, same thing, right? That'll be an additional support. Same thing for vocabulary, examples, and student responses. So also what this will do is reduce the processing time. The time it takes me to look at that word, figure out what it is that you're trying to tell me, figure out what that word means, because it becomes automatic, then I'm no longer having to spend so much time processing what it is that you're asking me to do and actually get started with what it is that you're actually asking me to do. So again, integrating the theme for today, for many neurodiverse learners and multilingual learners, right, same thing applies. Predictability equals safety. I'll say that again, predictability equals safety. So this is where, again, special ed principles overlap beautifully with multilingual support. And we'll see that throughout, again, because inclusion, you can never go wrong with inclusion. The more support you provide, the more everyone will benefit, okay? So strategies that support Haitian learners will, of course, let me not say of course, will, that's it, support students with learning disabilities. Because, oh look, I just said that. Inclusion strengthens everyone, all right? So together we can design once and benefit many. So this is where I go again with simple but not easy. But if you do the front loading one time, if you decide again for the next quarter, I'm going to integrate color coding. That's one thing. You do it one time and you're going to benefit many of your students, if not all of your students. Because even the students who are not neurodivergent, even the students who are not ELO students, this is still an additional support when I can look around the classroom and know that there's going to be a level of consistency and know that there's going to be support to access. I'm going to benefit anyway. Make sense? Bet. All right, so we talked about visuals. Let's talk about some classroom modifications that you can do in your classroom. What they are not. Classroom modifications are not lowering the standard. This does not mean that the students don't have to meet, thank you very much. This does not mean that students don't, oh, really, only 10 minutes? All right, I'm gonna make that work. But I may need 15 though. I may need, okay. Thank you. I won't take longer than that, but the last activity is like 10 minutes. We're going to go through this. We're going to talk about one example of classroom modifications, and then I'm going to email this entire PowerPoint so that you guys have access to it, all right? But they're going to need the worksheet in a second, all right? So again, classroom modifications are not lowering the standard. It's not removing rigor. Do we know what we mean by rigor? What we mean? I just want to have a working definition. Thank you. The amount of work that you need to put into something, or the amount of level needed for a synthesis, right? So for me to get from, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. How many of us are familiar? All right, so no, it's not Maslow's hierarchy. What am I talking about? Bloom's taxonomy, thank you. Bloom's taxonomy, thank you. There's levels, right? You go from identification to evaluation to synthesis to analysis. And so rigor is where you fall on Bloom's taxonomy, okay? So again, you're not removing rigor and you're not making it easier, but what you are doing is you're reducing the linguistic load, not the cognitive demand. Again, Christy mentioned this through her presentation, so I appreciate that front loading. All right, here we go. So this is the example before we go into the activity. When we say reduce the linguistic load, but not the cognitive demand, we're going to use an example again of directions. I could say, English teachers, how English teachers are? Any English teachers in the class? Just one, two? Oh, you do both? Hats off to you, my friend. After analyzing the passage, I need you to summarize the protagonist's internal conflict with 2 textual examples. Oh yes, I'm gonna say that again. After analyzing the passage, right? You need to read it, then analyze the passage. Bloom's taxonomy, y'all see where that falls, yeah? You're gonna summarize the protagonist's internal conflict. Y'all know internal conflict, external conflict. All right? And then you're gonna cite 2 textual examples. You're not just gonna give me the conflict, you're gonna tell me proof of where you see this conflict in the text. Y'all with me? Don't get distracted. All right. There's a lot happening there, yes? All right, bet. You could just chunk it. First, who's the main character? Main character, AKA protagonist. Tessa says she's the main character. Main character is the same as the protagonist. That's number 1. What problem are they facing? Internal conflict. Find 2 sentences that show the problem that they're facing. Cite 2 textual examples. Same thing. Are we reducing rigor? Not at all. You're not reducing the rigor. It's requiring the same cognitive demand. The cognitive demand remains the same. Analyzing the passage, summarize the protagonist's internal conflict, cite 2 textual examples. Those didn't change. What changed is that I put it into smaller chunks so that I'm not having to figure this entire foreign language all at the same time. Let me figure this one out first, then I'll figure that one out, then I'll figure that one out. Okay? So again, when we talk about classroom modifications, this is, again, simple, but not easy. So we're going to talk about just how simple but not easy it is, all right? And I'll just stop here before so we can go into the activity. The thinking level is not what changes, it's just the density of the language, all right? So again, before we go into our activity, together we can. Together we can. Preserve rigor, because rigor is a good thing, and we do want to challenge our students, but we want to make sure it's still accessible. All right? Okay, so moving past all of these. Okay, I wasn't too far. We're going into our modify this activity, okay? Now, in this activity, I want you all to look at that. You're going to work in a group if you so desire, or you can work individually. I'm a big believer in both, by the way. Y'all ain't asked me, but I'm telling you anyway, right? Sometimes we force students into group work, and it's not their thing, right? And again, we increase anxiety and lower output. They don't want to do anything, they're still not going to do it, right? And so it's good, while it is a very important skill to learn, right? You don't want them to also always be isolated. No, give them some reassurances that there will be time when they can work by themselves, right? And make that a part of the classroom practice as well. So you all decide how you want to do this, what you're doing in your activity or in your worksheet. Where do you see language overload? This thing is a whole paragraph, but we could make it a sentence, and it would give us the same thing, okay? Where can visuals replace text? 3, where can instructions be chunked? And 4, where can we add a sentence frame or sentence stem, right? It's up to you, meaning you can have the student finish that sentence, or you can use visual sentence frames. So I'm gonna go over the 4 questions again, and then I'm gonna let you all go. We're gonna do it for 7 minutes, and then you guys please choose one person at your table to share out. Okay? Go ahead. All right, so I'm gonna go over the questions one more time. 4 things. Where do you see language overload in your activity? Where can visuals replace the text? Where can instructions be chunked? And where can we add a sentence frame? Another strategy, before you send them off to do the thing, are there any questions? Is everyone clear on what is being asked of them? Thumbs up if you know what you're doing. I see 3. Thumbs, my mic gave up. Thumbs down if you're still not clear on the task. Third thing is, where can you replace the text with visuals? Where can you replace the text with visuals? Thank you. It's this one over here. Oh, not working either. This one too. And the last one is, where can you add a sentence frame?
Oh, it's on one channel, maybe.
Okay, that was
Check
an
1 2.
easy one. That was the need to repeat. Yes. Okay. What number 1? Where
Check 1 2.
First question. Second question. Where can instructions be chunked? Where can
Check 1
instructions
2.
be chunked? Number 3. Where can visuals replace text? And number 4.
Check
Where
1
can
2.
we
Check
add
1
a
2.
sentence frame? Those are the 4 questions. Any other questions? So I'm going to take one more point of privilege to say. Can anybody tell me what just happened? Okay, that's true. Okay, that's nice. Okay, thank you guys for your criticism. What I was going to say is that what we did was give someone else more access. So sometimes as a teacher, I might say, oh my gosh, I need to finish, right?
Check.
I'm trying to get
Check,
done
check,
with
check.
this assignment. And in the process, there
Check
may
1
be
2.
children in your classroom who don't want to hold you up. So if you say go, they just don't say it. But just by, hey, anybody else got more questions? You sure you got it? Thumbs up if you got it. What you did was just allow somebody else, thank you, who just needed the opportunity to not feel bad, not look bad. I'm not going to stop the teacher. Nobody's going to yell at me for slowing her down. That's all they needed, right? And now they can engage in the assignment too. And sometimes it is as simple as just repeating. Sometimes it may be that you let everybody else go. But what you shouldn't do is say, oh, now the rest of the class has more time than anybody else, so I don't want to give anybody else extra time, which we do. We do it sometimes, right? So understand, just because somebody else got a head start with it, it didn't mean that it wasn't a great opportunity to include some more of our students, all right? And with that being said, your time starts now. Oh, or not. All right, there it is.
Exactly.
You got it. Be finished.
Oh, yeah?
Now who going out?
You? No, no. I ain't got nothing written on this paper.
You have to write it on your paper.
Y'all remember everything in your head?
Yeah, I mean,
If y'all do, then by all means. But I thought y'all were gonna, scribble up the paper, circle some things, put an arrow.
Okay.
Guys, feel free to write on the paper if you want to identify some things, circle where you want to, minimize stuff. Oh,
Here's my friend.
how y'all doing? individual work happened over here?
The food and the brain.
I feel that. I feel
We're
that.
working together. We're looking at the task. Is this about changing the content or just the directions?
Neither.
Neither.
No. So again, what you're doing is looking at the assignment. I think there's one English and one math assignment, and you're looking at those three components. Where do you feel like there's text overload?
Text overload. That's including in the content of the assignment.
Correct. So
not
within
just
the
direction.
content of the
Okay.
assignment, yes,
Gotcha.
that would be included, and all the other three as well. So looking at the content, where do you see that you could probably replace some of that text with a picture? Where the
Gotcha.
picture would be sufficient.
Okay.
Okay. My pleasure. We're not doing the work table? Oh, we too good to do the work table?
I'm trying to calm my wife down.
Calm her down. What happened?
No, she's doing the presentation with me, and she's like, I'm nervous, so I'm trying to get her.
That means your wife is in this room right now.
Hmm?
Your wife is in this room right now?
She's online.
Oh, okay. I was
So-
going to say, because he be talking about his wife. I'm like, she going to do a whole presentation with her, and she's still just your wife, but yeah.
We'll see her soon.
Huh?
You
See us
see her
soon.
soon.
I'm hoping that they're participating online as well. So in groups or whichever, please feel free to participate. And if there's any questions, let me know.
All right. We could really just focus on this rather than that.
You can do whichever. And look at the content as well and say, okay, this has been turned into a
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Because I just wrote somewhere that needs to be a visual, gracefully, maybe writing if you can find it, or a picture.
Y'all decided. And again, I would say again, just challenge yourself.
Right. I just underlined reading I know. I mean, the background is fine, but that's not part of the correction. Not necessarily.
What else would it be? Or would it not be at all?
I mean, it's background, so you know context of this is, but it has nothing to do with correction. You read it, instead of saying corresponding, you say letter.
More sensible language, I see.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Removing that linguistic load, I see that. Thank you all for taking the time. Oh yeah, I see. Oh, the one online. Okay. My pretty classroom. I see you. I see. Well, thank you. Thank you for making it enjoyable for me. How we doing? All right, let me give them a 30 seconds. All right, you all have a little more than 2 minutes left. A little more than 2 minutes left. Please feel free again. Write all over the text. This is yours to keep. So if you want to use it as a reference, feel free to do so. Oh, okay. I thought she was doing it too. I was like, all right. We're working individually. Yes. Oh, choose one. One paragraph. And see what you can use in one paragraph.
What were you writing? Was that correct? Interrupting your students?
Even as my mic decided to. 30 seconds.
I have your post speech ready.
You got it? Okay, good.
Yeah, your post.
You're not following.
Park for them.
You do a good job.
Yeah,
You do a good job.
I've had them Spanish.
What happened to my PowerPoint?
Oh, wait, I thought that was if something happened.
Oh, no, so nothing happened? So my presentation did.
Yeah,
My
you're good.
presentation. All right, y'all, go ahead and wrap it up. So what we'll do, you can either volunteer or I can count you out. What y'all rather do? Silence. Bet. So volunteer? Any volunteers? All right, hearing none. 1, 2. Back table is 2. This table back here, 3, 4, 5. And y'all ain't doing nothing. Oh, you ready? You ready, Toby? And 6. Good job. Online is 7. Online is 7. Thank you, sir, very much. All right, number 1, tell me what you all found in whatever order you'd like. Actually, if y'all just share one, we'll give them the opportunity to do the others. Thank you, sir. Shh. It's all right, let's bring it all back together, guys, in 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Thank you. So again, if we could just pause, we'll go ahead and listen to each other. We're going to go again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, go ahead.
In the directions where it says read the correspondence and then answer the questions, those two could have visuals attached to them to make the directions more clear.
What kind of directions what kind of visuals would you add?
For the reading, I'd probably add like a book, and then answer the question, I'd probably add like a pencil.
Thank you. Thank you very much. That was an on-the-spot question. All right, everybody see what she's referring to? I know you mentioned something similar in the back. One thing, just one thing.
Okay, we'll share what we have. So we said that my name Lydia Coakley at PA Gibson.
Yes, go ahead, PA.
So I know, right? So we decided that we should put this information in a graphic organizer, maybe like a timeline, so that we can know the order of events in which the letters were sent. We said that we could have color.
I know y'all got more. Once everybody has shared, you're more than welcome to share the others. But what I don't want is for the table to say, well, they took all of mine, you know. Yeah. All right, y'all ready? Who's sharing for this table?
Okay, so what we came up with was modernizing the languages and also making like comic strips. So adding like pictures into it to make it like a comic book. So instead of all of this writing, just have like pictures. Yes. And also Google Slides. So to make it like a PowerPoint so the students could follow along as the presentation is being presented. Sorry.
Thank you very much. That was 2. But since they were both along the same lines, I went ahead and I took that. Thank you very much. Everybody heard what they said? So I just want to also harp on that to say, again, simple but not easy, right? You do that, you have the concept, you know what it is that you're going to do. Is it going to be time consuming? Yes. But once you have that, you never have to do it again, right? Like that's something that you have and that you know it will add additional support, scaffolding for the students who need it. Thank you. Is this your person? Right? Yeah, she was back on it.
All right. What we found was that in the first paragraph, because it says the result of last week, so they could have had a sentence frame there because we don't know what happened last week. So you could have had sentence frame as well as a visual. And then April 8th, they could have actually screenshotted those 2 notes.
Great. Those were interesting ideas. Y'all heard them all? Yeah. This is an echo right here, but did everybody hear what she said? I wanted to make sure y'all got it. Okay. Beautiful. All right. Thank you all for sharing. Going on to our back table here, number 5.
All right. So we had a few. Uh, in the content of it, there was a few bits that were unnecessary, like a repetition. As one example, your note of last evening in reply to mine of same date, asking the condition. That whole sentence is basically reiterating what was said in 2 different notes previous. We could skip that.
Okay, you'd move it completely?
Um, we don't have to remove all of it, but like condense it so it doesn't take up so much of the space.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So again, in condensing language, we're removing or reducing the language load, right? But you're not removing any key pieces of the text. All right, bet.
Make it into more visuals. So maybe think about like a virtual field trip to Appomattox to background knowledge. Also, I think a graphic novel would be good, like the conversation comic strip, like between Grant and Lee. And then you just take out, like you were saying, the main ideas from it and go with that, or use a site like Rewordify that summarizes.
Go ahead.
I told you many.
Wordify. Did y'all hear that? Well, I write it down. Wordify. Yes. Rewordify. Okay. Whenever I hear those tools, I add them to my favorites. All right. I didn't number you guys, but did anybody want to share from back here?
We said that we should just go straight to read the letters instead of corresponding. We're going to simplify the language of the directions and then answer the question. And our visual that we thought, well, you need a picture of who Lee and Grant are. A lot of people wouldn't know who they were.
Thank you. Sometimes a simple visual representation of the characters in the text, right? That's a simple way for them to be able to assign some to what it is that they're reading.
Okay, let me open my mic. Okay, host is not allowing participants to unmute themselves.
Host is not allowed.
You need to give them permission to
Speak?
Yeah, they're not allowed to. No, they're online.
Okay. Is there any that I can share, like verbally right now?
So you can probably ask them if there's anyone.
Anyone in online that wants to share? Or at the Stapleton? Well, yeah, all of them are in the online. But they're following online. Right. Okay. So our Stapleton group, if you guys would also like to share. I don't know if you guys have somebody designated. All right, while they're figuring that out, let me see. I want to make sure that I don't go too much overtime because I already know I'm overtime. But if they do have something, I want to give them the opportunity. So put it in the chat if you want us to be able to at least look at it in the chat. Okay? Plus, I don't know actually if they got the worksheets now that I'm thinking about it. They did? Okay, great. Anybody else wanted to share something that was not yet shared? So again, this is your chance. I know I wanted to make sure everybody got a chance to speak, but is there any additional suggestions or opportunities to modify that was not mentioned? Okay, bet. So again, remember, this was part of the modification of your classroom. So you have, first, a lot of our strategies were centered around visual supports, and the second part was about classroom modification. Understand that, of course, visualization is going to go into classroom modifications, so there are many, 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 many more that we could have shared, many, many more that we could have discussed. So again, with the time that we have, we may not necessarily have been able to get to everything, but I do hope that this was helpful. Was it helpful? Yes. Relevant. Okay, bet. Y'all trying to get rid of me? Y'all can't get rid of me. Last one. Together we can turn barriers into bridges. Awesome, awesome, awesome. All right, so right now, again, I just want to reiterate something that Ling shared with me that I really thought was monumental. You guys are making history, right? And history will remember this moment in education. Special education structures are emerging. Classrooms are becoming more linguistically diverse. So the question isn't whether or not change is happening. The question is, how will we respond to the change that is happening right now? And I believe that together we can respond with clarity, courage, and commitment. I hope you all will reflect on at least one thing that you can implement in your classroom. For those of you who were part of part one, so we did do one with EEOB in November of last year, and at that time you all received or should have received a resource guide. So I've added everything from today to that resource guide, and you can use that link if you want to scan the QR code to have access to all the things, again, that we talked about during the last session as well as this session. There's going to be some checklists in there, like the visual and classroom modification checklist, some class lesson plan templates, as well as some communication templates for when you're trying to reach out and engage some of your parents or families who speak Haitian Creole. I'm gonna give y'all 2 more seconds. That was 5. All right. You'll have the PowerPoint, yeah? Y'all giving out the PowerPoints, yeah? Okay, bet. Last thing, again, feedback is always, always, always welcome and important. So please scan the link to provide some feedback on this particular session. I would very much appreciate it. I do look at them and I do make sure that I use them in order to do a better job next time. All right, like speaking too fast. Do we have time for questions? 1 or 2 questions. All right, so we'll get, as well as online. Okay, please share any questions, as well as any of you, if you have any questions, as well as completing the survey, and then I will get out of your way. No questions? Does that mean I did such a great job that everything is clear? Oh, okay, bet. Oh.
Not a question, but a comment, use graphics and timelines to simplify instruction, your information session. Very informative session. Thank you.
Oh, awesome, awesome, awesome. Hearing no questions, y'all scan this QR code though? Y'all did? All right, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Nadesh. Thank you so much, and we love your energy. Wanted to mention that EO was busy making we have these pamphlets for you, and they have resources that we can use. So these are, many of them are professionals and doctors that we use and we call on when we have questions. And so we decide to compile the address, the emails, in case you guys have any questions and want to reach out to any of them concerning students. So we have medical services, parent support, speech occupational therapist provided, autism, ABA, family support, all of those. There's a list. And this is in the Bahamas, in Nassau, a lot of them, and some in the US. So we compiled some information. So just so if you haven't gotten one of these, you're welcome to pick one of these up. All right. This day has gone really quick, and this information has been awesome. I want to introduce Mr. Alvin Hepburn from Reach Bahamas. And the topic that we're going to be discussing is autism support and strategies from a Bahamian perspective.
Well, I know it's after lunch and it's almost time to go home, so everybody's looking at their watches. So I'm going to try and do my best. Oh, there we go. To move quickly, okay? Joining me in this presentation today is my wife, my lovely wife from Nassau, Bahamas. She should be joining in momentarily. And both her and I, we're going to do a team teaching exercise today. So we're going to see how we can get through this and get out of here. Because before the sun go down, I think I want to go to the beach.
But good afternoon, everyone. My name is Dr. Lloyd Hepburn, and we are here because we have a son who's autistic.
Go on.
Sure. Go on. Okay. Yes. So I don't know what we weren't able to hear what you guys we have said in the room, but my son is 11, almost 12 years old. We're double digits, which is great. And we homeschooling him because we face many challenges in the educational system. But hopefully, as we talk today, we're going to bring a parental insight to what is inclusive learning. And our focus for today will also inclusive assessment. Okay?
Yes.
So if you can take over from there with me.
Okay, let's go to the next slide then. So we want to talk a little bit about the organization called REACH. When you're not talking, Tanya, you can mute. Okay. So this is what REACH stands for. It's Resource and Education for Autism and Related Challenges. And this is a group that was started in 1999 by parents of autistic children in the Bahamas. Um, it it seeks to, thank you, it seeks to promote inclusion, opportunities. It wants to support individuals. Yes, support individuals with ASD and their families. And there's a whole lot of stuff that you also have in pamphlets. Because of time, we're going to move quickly so we could get into the meat of what we want to discuss today. So next slide, please. So the programs that REACH offers is speech therapy, um, autism youth adult club. Then they have care programs, summer programs. They have a parent support group, and that group helped Tanya and I immensely on our journey and in our walk through autism. And then they have free street screenings as well. Okay. Next slide. Okay. So how does REACH support schools? They train educators. They have free speech therapy in government schools. That's now happening in Nassau. They also collaborate with family schools, family island schools, and they share all of the resources that they get. Anyone that needs information, they make it available. And some of that stuff was given to you. And there should be contact information that you can use to call REACH out of Nassau, and they'll do their best to facilitate whatever is needed. Okay, next slide. As we go to the next slide, I want to give my personal story. When our son Alvin Jr. was diagnosed with autism, when I found out that he was on the spectrum, I sat in my car and I cried. And I cried and I cried. And then I started to think, and I was like, why am I crying? I was not crying because my son was diagnosed with autism. I was crying because my son was diagnosed with autism in the Bahamas. Be because, and then thinking about where Tanya and I had just come from, we were in St. Louis, Missouri, and a lady adopted us as her children. She was over the public school system in St. Louis County and city. And when I called her after that one of the first things she said to me is, bring my grandson back to the States. And whatever he needs, I'll make sure he's taken care of. My wife and I really had to deal with this because we were like, here, because we know what that meant here in the Bahamas. At the age of about 4, my son, because he had a speech delay, my son was standing in his uncle's wedding, and I took him to a place to get tape up. When we reached there, he was fine, and when we went to get tape up, he started crying. He started crying and he fell on the ground and stuff. And I'm like, what this is, my son he doesn't have any behavioral problems. So what's going on? And the workers started saying, that boy is rude, beat him. What is going on? Beat that boy. See how y'all get these little children just ruling you as parents. But because I knew better, I grabbed him up and I carried him in the back. And I'm like, tell daddy what's going on. And he's just looking at me. And I'm like, well, Alvin, you're an educator. Think. If he can't talk, you talk for him. So I started saying, okay, do you want to go? And he just said, no. Then I said, okay, is something hurting you? He said, no. I said, what, you don't want to get tape up for your uncle's wedding? He said, no. And then I looked at him and I said, what, you want to pee? And he said, yes, yes. So I carried him to the bathroom, and when we walked out, everybody started looking and they were like, well, what did you do in the bathroom? And then I had to say to the workers there, I said, not all behavior is rude. You just need to find out what's going on and address the problem. And I have found too in teaching, and that's why one of the things that I do in my classrooms, even now at the university, is I try to get the student to be comfortable. Because learning becomes better when the classroom is comfortable. And I say to them, this is something that I said to all of my students, I said, the reason why you are sitting here is because you don't know. If you knew, then I wouldn't need you sitting in front of me. So people that say, well, don't ask dumb questions. I want you to ask all questions, whether you consider it to be a smart question or a dumb question. Because more than likely, your dumb question is in the minds of everyone sitting in this room. And I said, the most I'm going to do is I'm going to laugh at you. And this is how I break the ice. I said, I'm going to laugh at you and you're going to be the conversation at my dining room table with my wife. But guess what? You are going to learn. And as a result, my students learn. And we have fun doing it in math classrooms. Because I know the average person in math already enters with phobias and fears. So if I can break that fear and you feel comfortable in talking, then we can move forward. So that's the style my wife and I take. And I know she's saying, hush your mouth and let me talk. So you can start talking, Tanya. Well, why they do that? Why a parent perspective matters. Okay, let's talk like this. It matters. Let me use my preaching voice. Parents see the impact of instructions before or beyond the classroom. So you can turn that one off, I guess. I got you. Thank you. So parents tend to see even before, well, should see even before teachers see. So we learned AJ, and when we would take him to his new teachers, we will have to explain to them, this is what he is dealing with. And this is how we deal with what he is dealing with. And we found out that that tends to work, and it worked for us for a couple of years. Home behaviors often reveal learning stresses or struggles or successes. And that too, one of the reasons why we pulled AJ out of what we would call normal school here or normal classes here is because he started saying to us, "Am I dumb?
Oh.
Daddy, why can't I learn like they learn?" And my wife and I realized that as a result of that, well, both of us are educators. His grandparents are educators on both sides of the family. So let's take him out because he's a brilliant young man and we know that he can learn. So that's why we pulled him out. And since we're waiting for that to come up, I'll give you another story and it'll tie in later. When AJ was in the regular school system, oh, she's ready? Take it over. We can hear you
Yes,
again.
I wanted to chime in with the stresses, the behaviors that we experience at home and what we actually see in the classroom. Why it's important for you, what I believe as parents, you know how a lot of times we'll say, you're surprised you're speaking to a teacher, and they'll say, your child did so and so, and you're like surprised, really? Because the behavior is so different at home. So a lot of times, what you see in our child is far different from what we see. And so we need to see from both lenses. So I am getting a calm child, a child who would never cover his ear, possibly, for the most part with me, because of sensory overload, because of the atmosphere he's comfortable in. But when he's with you, in the school environment, that's a different matter. Okay? So if we can partner together so that if I know what you're seeing, and hopefully I can curb that behavior, that will be a plus, a win-win very wonderful.
Okay. Oh, you stop? It's I go now. Inclusive instruction support diverse learning.
It's off. Oh, so he can use the mic then?
Okay. It support diverse learners academically and emotionally, and that's what we're trying to do as parents and teachers. Is that we want to work together to make sure that our children, because that's who they are all our children, and we are doing our best as parents and teachers to come together to make sure that they can function in our society. And when we begin to exclude them, then we have a generation, or we have generations of children, or children that grow up who feel that they will never be a part of. And that should not be. So we need to work together to include everyone. Why? Because everyone is important. Everyone brings something special. And I believe that most of us have a Christian background in the fact that we believe that God doesn't make mistakes. So everyone that is created was created with a purpose and they have a reason to be here. So therefore, we must work together. We've been gifted with the knowledge and with the know-how and the patience. Because do you know there are plenty of people I can say who are smarter than me, but if you put them in a classroom, they can't teach a lick. But God has blessed us all that we can help mold the next generation. Okay? So, differentiation through a parent's lens. Adjusting content, process, and production is what we need to do as we produce support in learning, real learning. And that's what we want to do. We want to make sure, and at the College of the Bahamas, I had a educational teacher, Mr. Adams, who always used to say, everything in life is easy once you could do it. And as the teacher, it is our job to help our students be able to do. Until they can do, life isn't easy for them. But it's our job to make sure, as teachers and parents, to make sure they can do, based on their limitations as well. We help them overcome. Okay? Parents notice. Oh, she moved on, but okay, good. Do you want to jump in here? Unmute your mic. I'll turn off mine. Go on. She's talking.
All of that stuff, and at first we were navigating putting our son in the mainstream, you know, in the mainstream school. I won't disclose the school he was at, but I would find myself up. We would start homework at 7, and he wasn't going to bed until 12 o'clock, just because we were trying to drill into him all that was needed just for him to pass whatever exam he was going to face the next day, or to basically teach him what I thought teacher would have presented. Because I wasn't sure that he actually sat there and listened. Because right now, earlier on, my son going through the preschool 3.7, 3.8, we were excited. We have a little genius on our hands, you know, and that's when he could do the things on his own. When he did not need instructions from anybody, he could just figure it out. In fact, it was as a result of him attending a preschool that encouraged us to get him tested. Because for the most part, he would be in his own little world, and they wondered if he was actually listening or participating in the lessons. And the teacher really realized that, you know, what was going on with him. When she had asked the question, nobody could answer it. She kept, you know, trying to bring it at a different level, and then he just, you know, just haphazardly just said what the answer was. And then she realized, you know, even though he's not focused as far as she's concerned, he's still listening in his own way. So what tended to happen was, if he went too far, and what I mean by too far, just like I said, he's in his own little world from time to time. You get those spurts when you get his attention. When he gets bored, he goes back into his own little world. Elmo, Thomas the Train, that was him at the lower level when he was younger. But if you lost him, then we had the task of trying to teach him all of that one-on-one when he got home. So when we would get now the support from the teacher, hey, simple, just a simple thing. We did this in school today. I'm going to need him to know this. Once I got that, then I was able to target, you know, go straight to what was needed for the next day. But at first, I was clueless. I didn't know what he learned, what he was taught. All I knew, he was having an exam on such and such. But just getting the support from the teacher, I noticed difference in him in terms of the homework resistance. It was always like, oh, not again. And what was worse, we have another child who's atypical, and she was finished with her homework in no time. And so here he was feeling like my husband was saying, that he was less, that he was not as smart as she was, and so on, because he needed to take more time. But the reason why we're going to insist on inclusive assessment is because it wasn't that he he wasn't getting the material, it was how he was being tested on it. But we'll get there.
And that leads me into my story with that same school, same private school that we were at. Um, yeah.
So there are multiple ways to access it. Definitely.
Are you ready for me? Let me tell my story first. So she can't hear nothing.
Of course, not necessarily in the classroom. And you can't necessarily give the individualized attention. That's sort of difficult to ask a student. But I get to do that when it's one-on-one. Choices increases motivation and engagement. Now, when it's time for me to present, let's say, fractions, I grab the visual aids. I go online, I do this, I do all these other things. And I can do that in the moment when I see he needs it. Okay? But of course, in the school environment, you're trying to target and trying to get everyone in the classroom. And sometimes the class may be as big as 25 students or more. And so I know that individualized attention is, you may not be able to get that.
Mm-hmm.
But just varying the learning, the activities, the choices they have, and how they are to learn concepts.
It's
That
good.
will be a plus. Okay?
Okay.
Now, I want to talk about support, and I think the last speaker mentioned it. We're hoping
But she
that the
can't hear
support
us.
is temporary.
I don't know why
In the
she.
meantime, support these extra things that we do.
Testing.
It's not low standards.
Can you hear us?
We are not lowering standards. Can you hear us? Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, okay. You can hear me now. Okay, let me interject my story and then you can come back with testing. Okay, good. Because it's based on the last point that you made that I want to interject this story with AJ as to one of the reasons why we had to pull him out of the mainstream and start to do homeschooling was that I went to pick up his report card. And in picking up his report card and talking with the teacher, I saw that he had an F in Bible. Now, that hurt me because I was a pastor. And I'm like, my son has an F in Bible? And I look at him, and then she said, no, but you can't blame him. Or she said to me, let me explain it to you. So I said, okay, because you got some explaining to do, because I know I went over the material with him, and he knew everything. And she said when she picked up his paper at the end, he did not write because our son, his issue is writing. He didn't write the answer in the time allotted. So what she did was she pulled him to her desk and she asked him all of the questions and he answered every one perfectly. But she said, because of our policy, is what he writes on the paper is what I have to give him a grade for. And I'm like, so you're not testing what he knows, you're testing what he writes. And I said to my wife, this is crazy. Because here I am thinking, which and I know from home, he knows the material. And then you can't say he can't demonstrate his knowledge because the fact of you pulling him to your desk and asking him, and he can tell you it and even tell you more than you ask, says that he knows the material. His issue is that takes him a long time to focus, to hold the pen or the pencil and write it down. So I said to my wife, we got to do something. because now my son is feeling that he can't when we know that he could. And he can do very well. Go on, hon. Oh, go on, Dr. Lloyd.
Sorry. On that note as well, what tended to happen, mind you, the teachers, given the constraints they had, they were trying to be as accommodating as possible. And what they started to do, they would give him the extra time. But his issue wasn't necessarily extra time. It started off being okay. They would let him finish off his tasks during break or finish it off during lunch. And we were okay maybe for the first month. And then the grades started to plummet again. And I was like, what's going on? Then I saw when we would get those test papers back. Because at first I would ask, so how did my son do? Oh, he was able to finish with everybody in the class. And so the teacher at first was thinking that his writing skills are improving and he's keeping up. But what my son started doing was finishing the exam. He was just writing anything in those on those lines, just so that he would finish. Because he did not want to lose his break time.
Yeah.
And he did not want to lose his lunchtime. So he would just put anything, and when I say anything, if they ask how many books was in the Bible, they ask it for a number, he may write cheese. Just so he would have something on those lines. So when the teacher, because when she initially collects the paper, and she looks through, he's finished. Because he did not want to lose his time. And then it was also the stigma. Why he got to stay in? Why he can't go out and play like everybody else? People are looking at him. Is he dumber than the others? You got me?
Yes.
So, even though, and this is the issue I have when it comes to assessment in general, and I know we're going to get there. Time and a half is not enough, or just more time isn't enough. Sometimes we need clear steps, like it said here. Writing, like I said, is a challenge for my son. When the lady gave us that assignment to do, it hit home to me what my son may be experiencing. I don't know if you guys can see what I have here. I know it's blurred.
Yes.
But this was what I came up with when she was giving me instructions. I drew
Your
square.
Uh-huh.
And I drew a triangle. I don't know if you can see that. And then I drew a circle.
Just like me.
And I thought I was wondering.
That's how I did it.
And I just laughed when I saw what the actual instructions were. And the problem with my son and most people on the spectrum or those who may have learning disabilities is that you've lost them with the first step that you would have asked them to do. And it's not as if they're incapable. And case in point, we can give an exam, and this is where the science teacher that we had, that he had at the time, if you gave him a multiple choice exam, but he didn't have to write, he just had to circle in, all the facts were there. My son will ace that. Mm-hmm. But if you take those same questions and you ask them open-ended, because for him, he can figure out what you are asking, because it's not always that he understands what you are asking at a given time. Okay? And then he's very exact, very literal. Mm-hmm. And this whole thing has to be a partnership. When I first started off, even though I'm an educator, I didn't learn how to teach students at this level. We're teaching university students. And so now I'm trying to bring it down to my son who's in grade 1 and grade 2 and all of that stuff. That was a challenge. Mm-hmm. But he has an awesome memory. Preparation for I was memorizing facts. So let's say hypothetically one of the facts that I had was drilling into him was the sky was blue. The sky is blue. And so I drilled that into him, and we move on. And so now we get into the exam. And so now you look at the question, mean, not straight up what is the color of the sky. If it is day, something along those lines. What would be the color of the sky? And just adding those extra things. I knew the teacher was getting that in one of the students to make sure that they would answer blue and not black because it's night, you know. But just those few extra words threw me off. And I'm like, AJ, but you know what color the sky is? But they didn't ask me what color the sky is. They asked if it's day. And so my son was very little. I mean, now we are now moving away. I know how to drill him. That's why it's a partnership. I didn't know until I experienced it. But maybe I have to ask him. So the sky is blue. Ask it in a different way. Um, what color is the sky? Or what is blue? Just that one sentence. I have to ask it in as many different ways and then make it give it meaning. Okay, so if you go outside at this time, what will be the color of the sun? All of that I have to think to bring in because I don't know how that question is going to come on the exam when if that's going to trip him up because he's so little.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so these are the challenges we faced when it came to exams, and I know comprehension is a big deal, but in terms of the literal, I don't know, Alan, if you want to share the story about the pet. You want to chime in here with the pet?
So he had to do a creative writing exercise. And the creative writing was, we want you to write a paragraph on your pet. And his answer was, I have no pet. And that was it. So the teacher was like, well, think about if you have one, write on it. And he's like, but I have none. So I can't write on it because I don't have it. He's very literal. Does that mean that he's being rude, that he don't want to write on the fact that he has no pet? No. Um, he has no pet, so he will not write on a pet. But if you asked him, tell me how was your day on the beach, he can tell you that because dad and mom took him to the beach. And he can write something on that. We went to the beach, it was cold, or the water was cold, but I still went in because I enjoy swimming. He'll write that for days. And like we were also talking about this morning, Tanya and I, as to just how literal he is and how he compartmentalize things that at home we call him AJ. But if he were to walk in here now and you call him AJ, he will tell you, I name AJ, I name Alvin. Because only his family, his immediate family should call him AJ. You don't have the right to to call him by that because that's how he processes. But if teachers don't know that, then they don't know how to deal with it. And I think that there are many students, and I was brought up, I born here, I grew up here, I taught here. And I think many students that we have had classified as slow learners or dumb, they are in the lowest group. Could it be that they process different and we just didn't know it? So we separated all of them and pushed them aside. So now you have a group of people in our society who thinks I can never learn, I don't have the skill, and they are still brilliant. They still have brilliant minds. Yes.
Honestly present to the parents because we have a lot of delusional parents. And as educators, we realize and recognize things in the classroom. We bring it forward to them.
However, they don't want to get them tested to confirm anything or deny because they just might be delayed. It doesn't always have to be a spectrum situation.
Hmm.
So, how can we navigate that with the parents so the children don't have to be just floating through the educational system?
Oh, that is excellent. I know Tanya will join me in saying we would love to come back. Do y'all want us back next week? But, and to add to what you just said, when the teacher sat my wife and I down, and she said to us, "We have some difficult things to discuss with you," and then she had to bring in the vice principal, and the vice principal started saying, "Your child is exceptional." And I look at my wife and I'm like, they don't know who we are. But I understood why because they told us that they brought in another parent, and the father said, "Not my son. Y'all are the one who have the problem, not my child." Um, but because both of us are educators, we saw that AJ didn't hit the benchmarks that we know he should have hit in this quote unquote normal. So therefore, we knew that there was something that was wrong and that we had to deal with. And yeah, so that's a good idea. Talk, doc. Oh, give him a second.
Even though, oh, sorry.
Start over.
Hi. Even though as educators, we've been exposed, we know about certain learning challenges and so on, autism for us was a new thing. We still have to wrap our heads about around what that could entail. We have this saying in Reach, if you've met a child with autism, you've just really just met one. Because they're all so diverse. Their challenges could be so different from one child to the next. Some verbal, some nonverbal, some are high functioning, some, you know. And for me, I was in denial. Both of us, we got PhDs in our various areas. Our child's supposed to come out brilliant. You understand?
But she did.
So sometimes um, aggressive in the sense that that's not my child and all that stuff, that was still something to digest. Because for me, I see something wrong with him. So yeah, he has some social quirks, you know, and I didn't mind it. They never said there was anything wrong with him, but that's how I heard it. They do need to bring me into this office and tell me, quote unquote, my child is exceptional, but suggest that maybe I need to pull him somewhere, put him somewhere else. Because at that time, we were talking about a child who was at a 3.8, 3.7 GPA, and even though he's not his GPA.
Mm-hmm.
This was before he was dependent on teachers for instructions. And he could figure it out on his own.
Mm-hmm.
That's where he was. So I'm like, what are their problems? Why they got us in? But they saw the different things, and I'm grateful. Don't get me wrong. Looking back, I am grateful. But you say this, and I'm talking from experience. If a teacher tells a parent this and suggests these things, you're gonna get some pushback.
Mm-hmm.
Because you know our child is, you know, like when people are saying, you see them on the news, not righteous, not my child. That's for everybody. They don't want to believe there's any issues with our offspring.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's us dealing with that. And so you have to approach them again, come at it from a different angle. But you try this. And then here's the issue. So let's say now you tell somebody you need to get them tested. The unfortunate thing here in the bottom,
Yes. Well, y'all can't hear what she's saying. Let me take this one back there. But it's not coming through. Try this one because it's not coming through the system. I can't hear it up there. I can't hear her up there. Hear her up there.
In another grade level before he got tested. That's how bad it was. So even if they get a diagnosis, I would hope by now, because this has been some years back, you know, that was the case. I would hope by now testing and all of that.
This one isn't working. See? This one is off.
The typical person when you first get the diagnosis, and that's why reach is important. You don't know what to do. You don't know who to go to. You go Googling and all that stuff, and you're finding all these names, and you're wondering if you could cure this and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And we can use now statistics
Okay.
to give our student, our child a fair shot.
And I think that's a very good point. I think that's a very but I think that's a very good point that she makes is yes, we want our children to be tested, but where do they go to be tested? So if you just identify the problem and there is no solution, then you just identifying problems. So things need to be put in place so that once problems are identified, there is a mechanism that exists to address that problem. And for those of you in the room, I know you could have barely hear what she said, is and that's why we thank God for Reach, because in our quest to try to get AJ tested, we went to the Ministry of Education. They do an excellent job, but the wait lists, it was like a year out. So by that time, what do I do with my son if I got to wait a whole year just to get him tested? Just to get him tested. And then the frustration is that you have persons who may be in power, and that's what gets us is that we went to events and persons who in power who could do stuff says, oh, my child was on the spectrum, so I just picked him up and carried him to the States and got him tested. But they can do that, but what about the average parent?
We have a comment on Zoom.
Okay, go on.
Because I totally agree. I used to work with autistic kids, and that is something that was very clear to me. Each of them are different. That's why we have to make sure we know each student and the way they perform, and also the parents' characteristics in order to us as teachers to know how we will talk to them and how we can work together as a team.
Good. So let's talk about strengthening this partnership, Tanya. And then we could go to the slide that I like. It won't be done. Tanya, we have to move quickly because it's after 3.
We bring these insights. We can tell you based on how our children basically are behaving, what's going on in their head, because we see it. We're around it a lot, and sometimes, like I said, the behavior may be different in the classroom because they're out of their comfort zone. But educators bring instructional expertise. And what I mean by that is, as a parent, I don't know how to make sure that my son has all the information he needs to do a certain task. I remember one of the teachers that we had at the time, God bless her soul, she sat us down and she said, when you give him this, make sure he understands the instructions before you leave him with the task to do. Ask him, Alvin, do you know what you're supposed to do first? Let him do that first. later on, just because all along he was able to do these things on his own. But as he grew, and as the education now, we're moving up in the level of Bloom's taxonomy, and you're requiring more that the student can do, it became a challenge for him. So if we can partner together, we can ensure success. So let me see if we can go through this. And so that will mean that we're going to share what is working. Not only, he banged his head against the wall because of X, Y, and Z. Or we were playing a game and he had to run out the classroom because it was too noisy. Yes, you need to let us know these things so that we could curb the behavior here and there. But also, this worked well for him when he was able to just read this part of the book during this time. When I gave him this while the students were doing X, Y, and Z, so sharing what works also helps. And then explain the strategies. When we ask you to do this, and when you do this sequentially, this is what it's going to help him to do. And then ask us, okay, did you try this at home? What happened as a result? So that then we can move forward. We can see what is working, what isn't working.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so communication isn't just, at the report card time, we see the grade, why he did badly in this grade and all that stuff. Talk about how they, reach out to us. We were like the helicopter mom, the helicopter parents. We were in their business. I'm sure they were tired of us. What do we need to do? What's going on this weekend?
What does he
We were
need?
on it, and we only did that as much as they did.
Yes.
And sometimes, I got the feeling that they felt I wanted them to give my son the answers. When all I wanted was for you to bring out the best in him. That's all I wanted. So when I would ask, okay, what type of exam is it going to be? That's me trying to prepare him for what he may have to face. If it's going to be handwriting, then our target, especially if he's not going to have enough time, okay, AJ, just answer just those questions. Just as much as you can do. Don't try and rush through all the exam. Because then, you're doing all of this and you answer nothing correctly. Focus on the one or two things you can answer correctly in the allotted time. I would prefer that.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes it was just so that I could prepare him adequately.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So I doubt we have time.
We don't.
Some exercises that we might do where you would have required you to do next year.
Yeah. Well, what we were going to do, everybody's going to pull out their phones and we were going to let you take this test, but we don't have time for that. So you can move to my favorite slide. And that was the test. This is my favorite slide.
Question. Hold on 1 minute. We have a question.
Tanya, hold on, please. There's a question.
I did hear your cry as teachers, but I say as parents, and I think just as frustrated as the parents are, so as we are teachers.
And we're getting to that right now.
We are generalists.
Yes.
Your expectation of us is just as high as our expectation, and most of the time, I think we shy away from it because we ourselves don't know what to do.
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to disappoint you. We don't want to disappoint ourselves. We're overwhelmed, and we lack the training, but we're expected to do all that we can.
Yes.
When our ability is limited in itself. So we feel your concern.
Yes.
We cry for the help, but we don't get it.
So Tanya, I think we should just briefly go over this slide and then talk about what we want in the assessments. Okay? And then wrap it up.
Okay, so this was a picture that we got in one of our REACH presentations that we had. And I mean, it's self-explanatory, at least I would think, but let me just explain. So here we have these animals lined up, and here's the evaluator. And it says for fair selection, everybody has to take the same exam. Please climb that tree. And I mean, I would have paused, we would have done, you would have been able to lock in your answer. Because the next question is, who do you think is going to get an F
Who do you think is going to
from
win?
this assignment?
We got monkey.
Even before they even start.
So the monkey will get an A. To climb the tree. So who do you think would fail? The fish will get an F. Okay. That's F for final.
To climb that tree. Who do you think from the get-go, even before the test is started, is going to fail?
The fish. They've already answered here. They've already answered. Yes. They said the monkey. And some is saying the bird.
A lot of things that we're doing now are all about inclusive learning, varying our instruction, doing all of these things, but still yet we're testing in one mode for the most part. We are still doing pencil paper exams, and basically we are giving them fair selection, quote unquote, but we already going to set them up for failure. So my son, give him a written exam, even if you give him time and a half, he's not going to do his best work. I already know, so when I get a grade, I say, oh, okay, I know what type of exam that was. Just the exam itself. It's not about, can you remember all the stuff that we went over and all that stuff? I already know what the issue was. And that's the problem that I'm finding, not just in the classroom, because at the end of the day, this is how we test our students. Paper and pencil. National exams, this is how we test our students. Paper and pencil. So I'm here, I'm concerned now, and this is why it's a concern for me. Before my son, he's just in grade 6. He's gonna go do GLAD. I'm not stressing about that so much. But BGCSE, he may get the multiple choice right and so on, but if he doesn't have someone to really stare him straight, not give him instructions sequentially, or don't give him the whole exam all at once. Give him more breaks. There are lots of things that we can do so that climbing the tree won't be so overwhelming for everybody. Okay? But that's what our issue is. Yes, we have all of this trend now. Inclusive, yes. Varying our lessons and all of that stuff. But we still want track with our examination processes. And I think that has to change.
And that is, yeah, I just want to point that out, Tanya, that is what our main focus was in this presentation is we see inclusive instruction is happening, but there has to also be inclusive assessments because it doesn't make sense training them or getting them in the classroom, and then when they go to sit those national exams or even the end of term exams, you said you got to do it this way. So then we just set them up to fail. Go on, Tanya.
It has to be matched with inclusive participate strong support, inclusive assessment practices have not evolved at the same pace. I know it's convenient, I know it's easier, I know it's hard, it's a challenge to reach all those different learning styles in a atypical classroom, let alone if someone has a learning challenge or disability. But if we continue to still test one way, then we're just reaching one set of students. And now all of these things are tied to these exams. If the diploma, for you to get a high school diploma, you gotta pass so many national exams. So what is that? Is my son never going to get a diploma? As knowledgeable as he is. So the assessment being too narrow, inclusion breaks down. All right, so here's the reality of our current testing. Heavy reliance on paper and pencil exams. That's a given. That's the BJC. That's the BJCSE. Strong emphasis on speed, handwriting, and sustained focus. So what if the child, like my son, where handwriting is an issue? What about the person who can't write as fast or who takes longer to process and sustain focus? What about the person you give them the time but they can't stay focused for that whole length of time? We're setting them up to not do as well, to not meet their full potential. And like I said, most of the accommodation, I remember when he was doing GLAD for grade 3, and I contacted the Ministry of Education, and I want to know my son, I want him to do GLAD, I probably need to take him outside because he's still in mainstream, but I was like, maybe he needs to go to a testing center so he can do his GLAD and all of that stuff. And I got, we just give time and a half. And I was like, you can just give him more time in my head to sit there and not know what to do. The assumption that all students process and communicate in the same way is false.
It's false, yes.
Some kids may not need more time, they just need to give it in chunks.
Yes.
Maybe if the exam is 3 hours, don't make it 3 hours. Let me do 1 or 2 pages in 1 hour. Then let me come back and do another 2 pages in the next hour. It all depends on their diagnosis.
Mm-hmm.
But if we say, for fair, selection, everyone must climb that tree, and everyone must meet the standard, then you're setting that person up for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So extra time addresses speed, not access. So and I'm just using, I only can use my son for now. I'm not an expert. But if you give me more time and my son just needs you to verbalize the instructions, make sure it's clear. Don't tell him, okay, underline this, the first letter, then put a comma after the first word, then circle the whole word. He can't get all of that at once.
Mm-hmm.
He would need underline the sentence, and then you need to wait for him to do that.
And then move to the
I can't
second.
even remember what I said next, but it has to be done sequentially.
Yes.
Time to do that before moving on to the next task. It's not as if
Mm-hmm.
he can't do it all. He cannot do it all at once.
Yes.
Okay?
Thank you.
An incident of autism
Mm-hmm.
spectrum face processing and regulation challenges. He needs to tell himself he needs to focus and do that exam. At a certain point, he's turned out it's enough for him. He's been sitting here too long, and so he just gonna write everything down because he's ready to go. Longer testing period may increase
Let me tell her, hurry
anxiety
it
and
up.
fatigue. And that's
Yes.
if it's a short, like Tanya,
Tanya,
short, this is short and sweet.
it's after 3. We got to hurry it up. Because you can't see my audience, but I can see and feel them. We got to finish. We got to wrap it up.
and stress tolerance. Handwriting and speed may overshadow understanding. Inclusive assessment focuses on reasoning and mastery. We basically want to get what does the student know? And we don't need it clouded with how fast they can do it, or are they in the right frame of mind when they're doing it, that they focus. That's not what we're trying to do. We want to know, do you know that the sky is blue? Okay?
Okay.
All right, and the goal is valid, it's a valid measurement of learning. At the end of the day, we want to know what a student has learned. And if that means varying our assessment tools, that's what we'll have to do. So here are the testing barriers for kids on the autism spectrum. Literal interpretations of questions. Difficulty with abstract language and multi-step tasks. Executive functioning and organizational challenges. And then sensory sensitivities in exam environments. So maybe they need to be in a room all to themselves. But I'll go, I want to get to what it would look like.
You need to get there quickly.
Alternative short format, oral, typed, or scribed. Maybe have somebody read the exam and let them verbally give their answer and they write it for them. Clear direct language and reduce visual clutter. Chunks questions, and we saw all of these come up in the previous speakers. Because a lot of these things we see coming up a lot, it needs to translate into how we assess students. Small group, quiet environment. All right, so here, how do we remove the barrier without lowering standards? That's our goal. We want the learning outcomes to be the same. We want to, at the end of the day, we want to know that they know the sky is blue. That whether they ask it verbally, whether they have to type it out, the students know that the sky is blue. Administration changes.
Ms. Hepburn, Ms. Hepburn, Ms. Hepburn, can you hear me? Ms. Hepburn, the audience has left the building.
I just thought I'd let you know they have left the building. Our chairs are becoming empty. This is excellent information. I think we're all enjoying this. But you have 2 minutes to finish. 2 minutes. Go ahead.
So let me go to the important slides that I want to share. My husband and I both work at the University of Alabama. When we contracted our testing officer, I have a name to the bottom of the screen there, Dr. Anastasia Brown. And she has made our assignments are so far behind in terms of how we assess students that have challenges. And these are some of the suggestions that we incorporate here at the university for our students. But by the time, how do we ensure that they get to the university if we're not doing the primary school level or we're not the high school level? So alternative testing environments, maybe a private room, reduce instructions, anxiety. Extended time, yes, time may be needed for students who are slow in the process. Breaks, more breaks than what the average typical student may need. Assistive technology, maybe speech to text. Let me speak my answers and let it be written for me. Scribe, so readers, assistance with writing or reading exam questions. Flexible scheduling. Reschedule exams to accommodate individual needs or reduce the number of exams taken at once.
So I'm going to turn it over to you.
All right.
Okay.
Accommodations, earplugs, headphones, fidget toys. These are things the child may need to go to the exam with just to keep them calm. Visual supports. And the last speaker mentioned that having the visual aids will help. And then modified exam formats. More than just paper-based exams.
Okay.
So,
We want to thank you all for listening to us. Um, Like a good friend of mine would say, we're not out of material, we're just out of time. So thank you all, and I do apologize for going over your time. I think it will, yes.
Okay, so we would like to say thank you so very much, Madam Hepburn and Mr. Hepburn. Excellent presentation. Unfortunately, like we said, we didn't run out of information. We just ran out of time. And I think our teachers been great because it's almost 3:30 and we have a few of them still here. And you know 3:15 is the cutoff time. So, Shadia? Oh, Miss Cooper. So we're going to give some more prizes. Look like Miss Cooper, Miss Curry. Curry left. Oh, I'm so sorry for her. So sorry for her. Okay, so we have Samantha Cox. She's left too. I'm so sorry for her. Brita Wilkinson. Ah, she's here. Good for you. Good for you. All right, so we have Jessica Meadows. Is she here? No. Oh, sorry for her. No, we're not collecting. Tamika or Tamara Nixon. All right, good job. Very good. And we have one more. Tennille Thompson. I'm so, tell her what she missed, okay? All right. Lydia Coakley. All right, go for it, Lydia. You won something. I'm so proud of you.
Let's give him one.
Okay, one more, just for the heck of it. Christine Thompson. Oh, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. This Christine? Okay, I hope so. Okay, all right.
That's it then.
What? Christine, what's your middle name? What's your other name? Okay, yeah, that's you. Okay. Wyrisa Adderley? Miss Adderley still here? Woohoo! All right, good. So you got a reward for sticking it out. I am really wishing we had more time because I think they had a lot more to give us. Thank you again, Mr. Hepburn. I would like to say on behalf of I'm going to go on the branch here, on behalf of Ministry of Education, especially the Special Education Unit, we would like to say thank you to EEO for allowing us to be a part of this. And thank you for our lovely speakers from the beginning to the end. Mr. Hepburn, we wanted more. I am so sorry. Okay? All right. But thank you very much to our teachers. Thank you so very much for spending the time with us and thinking it important enough for you to come here. And our family online, thank you. Thank you so very much. We now pray that you will have a lovely rest of the day, and the information will be shared with you. Your certificates will be sent out to you. As soon as we get the list, we have no problem. If within, give us a little time. If you don't see it in 2 weeks, give us a call, okay? If you don't see the information in 2 weeks, give us a call, okay? My number at ministry is 502-2947, okay? Thank you again, and God bless.
Giving your number out, that's great.